And welcome back to NLC, the Northern League of Legends Championship. It's Aurora Cup, as we might say in Portuguese, or as somebody might say, Aurora Cup. So my name is Alexandre Ashanomaya. I'll be your host for today, but I have a lovely desk that I want to introduce to you. We have, show us. I was expecting that. I was expecting Black Blocks are joining us, and sadly we have initialized. Welcome back.
I was so excited, and then he just decided violence was the correct option, and that was
I
me.
love your jacket and your beard.
Thank you.
I don't know what you
Thank you.
made of initialized, but I just love this new look, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It needs a bit of neatening up, but we're okay with it. Also, hello, Bloxer.
Hello.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been. Haven't been around for a little bit, but it's super exciting to be here. And I mean, the teams, all of the tournament so far has been so exciting. So yeah, can't wait.
You know what? Out of the blue, Bloxer, who do you think is going to win the entire tournament?
Oh my god.
I'm not biased at all. Yeah.
Venom Crest.
I see. I kind of see your point. I see your
They're
point.
just so clean. They're always just so clean. And I gotta be honest, in the UKL, they've not been looking clean, so I need some Venom Crest wins in my life. So yeah, Venom Crest are gonna take it.
Now we're talking. I love that. Well, let's see who's going to be screaming at the video game today. It's no other than the famous and amazing Hip Rain. And there she is. Salari, welcome back.
Hey, good to see you and good to be at Aurora Cup.
I'm having. I don't know, man. I might just go. I might just go, man. I've also noticed there's a cool little color pattern going on here. First of all, I didn't notice that sword. That sword is wicked. That's so cool. But it got a bit of blue here, and then we got a bit of pink down there, and then just like a lot of white on your side, Archer. Paint your walls, man. Get some color.
I did. White.
Yeah, you painted them white. Paint them something fun.
I'm trying to camouflage the darkness inside of me. Let's toss it to the desk.
You need a hug, bro? You're right.
More than you think. Well, talking about hugs, DMG yesterday took a big hug coming in.
Your death hug, yeah.
Yeah, death hug. It was a 3-1, but by the end of it, we could see how dominating the enemy were versus them. So with that in mind, is there anything we might highlight from the series before we move forward?
I think for obviously Bloxer shouted out Venom Crest as one of the front runners for the tournament. I think you have to shout out Verdant as another one of those. They are very, very good. I'll be upset with the loss they gave up. It was in part because they opted in to some silliness, and that put them in a difficult perspective. But I think in general, DMG were put to the sword. Verdant wielded it with pretty stellar passion. I expect to see both of those teams make a very, very deep run. Even if I think there will be a few other teams who will be looking to fight them there, I still think Verdant have got to be one of those people you're going, yeah, they should be right up there in the top 2, top 3 of them.
So might as well toss in the bracket for playoffs to understand who's already out. It was the MG who's going through, and what other games are we going to be watching? Well, today is going to be RGM versus Natives, another team that has been on the name of everybody. Everybody has been talking about RGM. Verdant with a 3-1 versus the MG, then Ready versus LLS, and then Venom Crest will take the last battle versus BFG. That is going to be a tough one for the boys, but let's see if they're able to pull it off versus Venom Crest, tournament favorite so far. Interestingly enough, yesterday on the interview with FGG for Verdant, he said, well, we want to fight Ready on the finals. I think they're the only team that can actually stand up to us. Those are bold words coming in from FGG, but also disregarding what Venom Crest or even RGM can pull off. Even Natives, for instance.
Okay, so I'll start on this one. So I think the thing is, you look at who's on Ruddy's team, kind of look at the supreme levels of confidence players normally have in there, and then they bring in, obviously they've lost Kuturikan, who of course was a big deal. Alex isn't playing at the minute either, but you've got Malice in there, who has been very, very successful, at least at the ERL kind of level over in challenges in America as well, for years. And the fact they've got some of these effective ringers in to come and smash people, you can understand why this is a squad that FGG is going, look, these guys are really good, they play with a certain style, you know what Malice likes to be. You know what build likes to pick. Alaric as well, even with things like his Zac. You've kind of got these players who do have those pocket picks that warp drafts. And I think when you are in fearless scenarios as well, you find more angles to pull them out and make more use of them. Yeah, they should be scary. Yeah, you should be afraid of them, and I can understand why FGG's got their eyes on them, at least from behind the scenes.
Bloxer, when we look into the Swiss stage, and might as well pull it off, was there any team that surprised you, like standing aside from playoffs, not making it to playoffs through the Swiss stage?
I feel like it's a little bit of a cheap answer potentially, but the rosters like Broad and Friends and Paragon, I was super excited to get to see them. You know, they're UKL natives, they've been playing in tournaments I've been watching for ages, and I had really high hopes for them. Unfortunately, Paragon, obviously, they didn't manage to pick up a single win. Broad and Friends did. That was pretty impressive from them. It was a really exciting game, so it was great to see them get a win. But yeah, I was just hoping for a little bit more from those squads. They're always so exciting to watch, and the fact they didn't manage to, even one of them managed to make it out, was a little bit upsetting.
I mean, I'm there with you. But I think the other thing is you've got to remember, like, this was a great opportunity for Broad and Friends in particular to get their name out there a little bit more, because they put out some of the most incredibly entertaining content in League of Legends.
They're so
Them and
fun.
Ruddy have the kind of banter you love to see. They were releasing rap songs to explain how they won or lost games across the regular season, all produced after the match to come and like break things down. Like, it was really, really entertaining stuff, and they are a very creative, very entertaining team with a lot of that kind of British roots in there that give them a lot of colour. So go check them out. Go make sure you give them follows. Yeah, they only won the one game, but the organization, the players there are such gems. They're really worth watching, even if only for the entertainment value. Go check them out.
We talked about this yesterday, the idea that Aurora Cup allows you to bring like new rosters or new teams showing up and actually showing what they're capable of. So this is a really good battleground for all of those names, or even to reinvent yourself, just like Natives, for instance, did. So might as well talk about the match of today. It's going to be RGM versus Natives. And I would like to focus on a team that is part of Division 1, the Natives, and how much they change towards this Aurora Cup and what can we expect from them as well. I'm going to keep saying it in the Portuguese way, initialize and blocks that you guys can say in the British way, Aurora Cup. I don't know how you say it, but I'm going to put it in the
Aurora.
Aurora.
Aurora, yeah, exactly, that's the way.
Aurora Cup. So for Natives, let's visit what they have right now and the current roster. Any surprise? Look at the difference though. Look at the difference.
It is a huge change. This roster has basically completely shifted out. Highbridge, of course, the one remaining member. But it is a massive, massive change in playstyle, if nothing else, and a huge shift up in terms of what you're expecting. So yes, the name is the same in terms of natives. Yes, you've got one player remaining, but effectively this is a new squad playing for the first time together here in the Aurora Cup, and they've been pretty exciting in a lot of ways. You might recognize people like, of course, MKR, who are on blue-whites. Yes, they struggled. They had a really rough road of it, promoting to NLC in the way they did, but, you know, you will at least know those names vaguely.
Boxer, it's interesting when you look into this roster and you're like, the last remaining member, it's Highbridge. Obviously we know MKR, and we can look into the other names like Archfiend, Leo Lucargo, and even Ivers. They have some history, even though it's not like the Division 1 history of NLC, but they do have some history on their names as well. But when you look into the solo remaining member, it's kind of hard on you. Like, okay, I have to keep on with the torch. I have to move on with this. It's like a big toll on Highbridge, don't you think?
Absolutely, but I mean, look at the performances, right? It's not like Highbridge has taken that and crumbled. These performances have been incredible. There was the brilliant Viego performance up against Broad and Friends. You know, this player has shown why he was the single player that was kept on for the roster and has really been shining. There's been a couple of games here where MKR has struggled, where the bot side hasn't quite gotten off of the floor, where maybe the top side hasn't quite been able to pop off, but it is that jungle and that mid from this squad that has really been solid, has been showing why they've been kept around, why they're able to do so well, and it's been really exciting. You're right, it's a huge weight to put on top of a player, but I think that Highbridge has really risen to that, and I can't wait to see what he's able to do today in this matchup.
To kind of double down on that, remember what we were seeing from the regular season. This was a guy who was hard forcing things like the volley bear out of meta, needed to be the go button early snowball type player, and actually kind of taken a bit of a different tack this time around and have gone towards things like, well, give me a Viego, a Wukong, which can actually maybe scale a bit better, become more of a threat as the game goes on. Yes, we are still seeing a bit of the Jinta. We saw a slightly awkward volley bear game, but still there is like a slight difference to what we're expecting out of this player, and especially now we're in Fearless, we know he's going to be someone who is going to be core to how the team wants to play, be that through early game, or be that through I need 2 items and some level 6s to play off. But he is still a player that they are relying on to be that core, I won't necessarily want to say initiation, but core focal point, the impetus the team needs to get going.
I'm so happy you brought in the Fearless. We talked about it previously at the beginning of the show. Now we highlight it again. For the natives, I think this is their bread and butter because from what we've seen on Swiss stage, and we actually have a little graphic about that, look at this. Like, they keep playing different champions non-stop. Like, only Viego has been played more than once, and when you look into the support, yeah, Leo Cargo has fallback into the Alistar more than once. But aside from that, everybody keeps changing. Everybody keeps reinventing themselves. So with this in mind, I do believe they have the possibility to pilot this Fearless with no issue whatsoever.
It'll be interesting to track, because I think you are correct you are correct in the most sense. But what I will note is, for all we are seeing a fair amount of different champions here, they're often in very similar archetypes. Like, it is tank / bruisers tops. It is those kind of AD brawler junglers. Mid lane, a little bit more of the individual playmaking and pick potential. Bot lane, I think we're seeing a little bit more inventiveness there, like the Seraphine, the Ziggs, the Misfortune, the Ashe, all quite different champions, but that's definitely something to it. But I'll be interested to see with, considering particularly that kind of top side of the map and the archetypes of champion they like to play have been relatively similar. What happens if they're forced to get away from that archetype, where those champions start becoming less viable deeper into a series? Could still prove an issue, but they seem to have a fair amount of champions, at least within that kind of style, to make it work.
It feels like, honestly, Regem are the team that changes up their style way more.
Yeah.
That team does not have a single style. The champions may be different, but you're absolutely right, Initialize. The playstyle's pretty similar overall from natives. Regem, they will change things around constantly. Schofield can go from having a pop-off Viego performance where he is the main character, main carry the whole way through, to all of a sudden playing a Ivan game, where, you know, no kills, doesn't matter, is just going to support the whole team, to going on for a Sejuani game, you know, a big tank, I'm just going to absorb the damage, I'm not the main character here either, but I'm still supporting the team. They changed so much the whole way through. There's top with carry performances, there's top with tank performances. That is a team where you get a lot of differences. You can see it right here. The whole way through, the style that you are playing is so incredibly different. Again, the only place where things really are staying the same is the support, and I don't think the support meta has changed this entire year, so I'm definitely not going to be holding that in any way against Simpy.
Not only that, he hasn't pulled the Rakan yet, and we know he's a god on Rakan. So the fact that he's playing these I like to engage, we talked about this yesterday for FGG. There's tons of champions as a support that can give you the engage tool. So if that is the only concern for the champion ocean that this team brings in, I think they're really, really comfortable, right, Initialize?
Yeah, I think the other thing you got to remember is it's a team that flexes what champions go where a lot. The Nasus has gone mid. Hell, they had a Viego mid game at some point in recent history. We've seen the Diana go mid, the Syndra go bot. We know Lingard is an AP bot laner player. We obviously, you know, even towards the top side, things like that Mundo you could see reflexing jungle. The Poppy can flex around as well. So yes, they all play quite a lot of interesting champions, but on top of that, there's a lot of flexibility between roles. Varus and Syndra getting switched around. All those kinds of things. The Viego ending up in weird positions alongside an Ivern. And you begin to see a team that has not just good champion pools, but good champion options within draft. And especially when you are in a fearless scenario, when you can add in even more uncertainty, that can get very difficult to draft against.
And I would like to highlight the players as well. We already know how they play or how confusing they play, but might as well show these names, because when I spectated RGM on the Swiss stage, I was co-streaming and I saw the composition. I was like, holy, this is big. This team is dangerous. Like, how did they were capable of pulling this sort of roster? And I know a lot of these names, but I want to let you talk about this one specifically, Initialize. Raider, you had something to say about him. Then we can go across the entire roster, because we have a lot to say about all of them. But who's Raider? Tell me. I have no idea who he is.
So this is a great opportunity, because obviously we chatted a little bit earlier about FGG and the statements he was making. When FGG debuted into playing League of Legends in the UKEL 2021, there was another player on X7 Esports at the time who were in UKEL, nowhere near NLC Division 1, called Raider, who was a top laner there, and they looked unstoppable for half a season. All fell apart. You might have heard that story before. So, hey, who am I to talk about that. But they are still, this was a player who was debuting at a similar time to FGG, and we saw that meteoric rise of the support there and how great we've started to see him on things like the Rel. Raider on the other side was a name that came in a little bit hotter initially because he was playing the styles of champion that allow you to pop off individually on a very, very exciting way. He has an 80% career win rate across 4 odd years now on Camille. He's 16-4 on that champion. His Darius is insane. He plays Fiora. He's got a little bit of the Jax in there as well. It is those style of AD duelist champions that you can take over a game with that Raider is specialized in. His tank play initially was quite poor. His champion archetype versatility was a little bit poor. It's gotten somewhat better, but you still know that this is a player who, when he can, will look to take the counter 1v1 matchup like the Darius, like the Camille, like the Fiora, and try and pop off with it. And the fact he's been able to do that consistently across a number of teams, a number of rosters, a number of metas, and still come back to those, it's Adam and his Gods champions, just a different flavor of it. Raider is coming to take over the side of Lindisfarne. He's doing it on Darius, he's doing it on Camille. Be excited.
Bloxer, we just got a documentary about Raider. What can we say about the rest of the team? Might as well pop up the names again. I mean, we kind of know them, but if possible, bring in again the names for RGM. Schofield, Fierce, Lindegarden, Simpy, of all of them. Like, when we look into this team, how much can we expect from them?
I mean, first of all, sorry to not answer your question immediately, but first of all, another plug right here for UKL. If you're not watching the
Let's
UKL,
go.
you should be watching it. It is the most
You
fun.
can see Raider years before he's here.
And you'll constantly see players who pop up at these high-level tournaments because we do produce amazing talent. Beside that, there are some names here that are absolutely huge. The ones that my eyes go to immediately is Fierce and Lingard, who were on Venom Crest for the whole of that summer split, NLC, and who won the whole thing. They are incredible players, and so you should be expecting a huge amount from this roster. The team wasn't one of the NLC representatives, so maybe if you're just looking at team seeding, team names, you wouldn't think too much, but the actual roster that Regen was able to assemble right here feels a little bit like they were pulling together the Avengers. They have plucked incredible players from everywhere, and the way that the team seems to be gelling as well has been incredibly impressive. It hasn't been that, hey, we have to play around some specific lane. It's felt like all of these players have had their pop-off moments. They've all had games where maybe they didn't go quite as well, but the team was able to step up and carry them, and you can see from the pedigree of these names and the way that they've been playing that Regen are an incredibly scary team at the moment.
I love it. So we're kind of building up the hype for this team, RGM, but they're fighting versus natives. And the idea is, yesterday we talked about DMG and the way they play. They had really good names, but their synergy was kind of complicated. For RGM, it doesn't look like it. It looks like everybody's just clicking in a second. They understand each other and they play well together. That is really dangerous when you pull all these names together, right?
I think so, and I think part of that is because you have kept together this core of the mid, bot, and support who have been playing together quite successfully on Venom Crest for most of the year. That's really good. And you bring in a jungler who's got a system to fit into, and you've got a player like Raider who you know what kind of champions he's going to play. And in some ways, if you can take attention away from him and play towards the other side of the map, he is very happy on his Camille and Darius and stuff. And he doesn't have to necessarily be synced into the system quite in the same way you would say with a jungler or a support, right? And that makes things so much easier. And then you add in the flexibility of Fierce and Lingard, who know exactly what champions they can flex between each other. And you've got yourself a pretty good recipe for success there, actually. I think they've been very smart about the roster they built and how they've done it. And so far, so good, honestly, from Regen.
So let's say we know both teams. By now, we understand how they play, how weird they can play as well. From what we've seen in Swiss stage, I think they can pull really interesting games. And when they clash against each other, especially with the score they were able to achieve in Swiss stage, I think this is going to be an interesting best of 5. So if I could pull a prediction from both of you, starting with you, Bloxer, because I see you smiling. So let's start with you. What do you think is the score? I don't want the name. Okay. I want the score.
Just the
I don't
score.
want you to be biased. I just want the score.
I think it's going to be 3-1. I think that there's no way either of these teams yet know how to play a clean 3-0, but I do think that one of these teams is looking a lot stronger, so a 3-1 here.
Okay, building the suspense. Initialize.
I was going to wimp out and go for 3-1. No, it's 3-0.
Wow,
What is the wimp out? Yesterday we got to say wimp. ideology of the 3-1. Why would you say that?
I said 3-0. That's why I said it.
No, I don't understand why
committed.
3-1 is a wimp. It's a reality.
Because because what a 3-1 is, it means you can't actually commit to your belief that one team is so much better that they're not going to lose a game. And it's like, it's your cop-out. So, they might just drop a game and say, well, see, they really were just good enough to get a 3-0. Like, 3-1's always a wimp-out answer.
Have you seen these
respect.
teams? They're gonna drop a game. I would be
don't
very
care.
surprised if
3-0.
either of them get 3-0.
I believe
what?
in the heart of the draft.
This
Be
could a bet.
fearless, like the game mode.
This could be a bet. Block said, what if you win with the 3-1, Initialize is forced to shave?
That's fair.
Oh, doing the job of the people right here, getting them to shave. I'll take
I
that.
like that look. I like that look, Initialize. I just say, I like that look. Don't worry.
Appreciate that, mate. We're gonna shave you at this point, just like half the beard.
I
So
don't
just-
think it's possible, though. I don't.
So just down the middle, so you just turn one way, you've got like a clean shaven face, the other way still got the beard.
I no longer believe I have a chin. It has been far too long. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the chin ideology on Ashram's face. Well, with this in mind, we already know everything. A champion select is about to start.
I need to know what happens if I win. Where's my victory? What do I
we
get?
skipped that.
It's not like I could grow a beard out of nowhere. Believe me, we
Stick
trying.
one on. Just get some Brit stick and stick it onto your face.
I could get a stick-on beard. I will get a stick-on beard and
You
wear
know
it
what?
for a day.
I got
That's
you
fine.
something, Initialize. If you win, Hiprain
Yeah.
will have to show. Nah, he needed a beard. this
Ah, so true. Yeah. Hiprid has to grow one. Just
Yeah.
try.
Not gonna happen. So we already know the teams champions to watch. What is that champion that I'm looking for the most?
So what champion are we expecting to be like highest prio here? I think the Viego could be pretty big. We know it's a flex for both teams. I could also see some of those pocket picks being very scary here. So eyes on things like the Darius, eyes on things like the Volibear.
Blocks it. I need you as well.
I mean,
Jump
we
in.
were talking about it earlier with the Rakan. I think the Rakan fits into a lot of what it is that Regem have been wanting to pick up for themselves. I'm also going to be really fascinated to see if we're going to get the Syndra, if we're going to be allowed it through, because it's so strong in both mid and bot lane at the moment. I would not be surprised if that's going to be a pretty consistent red sign ban, because it is so strong. But if it does go through, fascinating to see which lane it ends up in and what people can really do into it, because it hasn't quite felt like we found the answer into the Syndra at the moment. And if you can't answer this Syndra and you're having to ban it every time, that's a big ban to just be missing out on consistently.
Well, you know what, Initialize? I've known you for a long time, so it's time to pop the question. RGM picked red side, so why do you think red side is so important nowadays? Because everybody's just picking red side. I don't know if this is the question you wanted.
Okay, so we're seeing it a little bit at Worlds and stuff as well. I think especially after people have started to find ways to answer things like the Skarner, the Yone, the Aurora, which have been very strong. You either ban them where you potentially have some answers into them. It allows you counter-pick in multiple roles. It gives you counter-pick potentially for top lane. I will also note, for RGM in particular, picks that you expect to go in one lane are not necessarily going in that lane. It may well be flexed as well. So part of it as well is your first pick power picks are being answered quite well, and part of the way they're being answered is by having people like RGM have some wild pocket picks that make it very difficult to determine where champs are going in draft and what champs you might be playing into.
Bloxer, do you agree with this statement? Or do you have anything to counter-argument?
I mean, that is the best sound logic that you can get for why red side is so strong at the moment. I think the only thing is, if you are looking to pull something truly crazy out, blue side can help, because it can completely throw off what it is that you're looking to do on red side with counters if you do end up with a crazy pocket pick that you can pull out. But it just doesn't feel like we've got that one solid best champion at the moment that really is blue side B1 every single time. It feels like we're just getting a lot of, hey, I'll take my semi-fighting jungler B1, or I guess I can take myself some kind of basic easy enough top laner that's not going to get too countered. Blue side, it just doesn't feel like it's got that same level of, hey, Smolder's the strongest thing ever, we want blue side because if you don't ban it, then we're just going to take it. There isn't really that kind of thing in the meta at the moment. I think the meta is better for it, but yeah, it just leaves blue side feeling a little bit weaker.
And also,
It's
if you
also-
want to be that surprising on the blue side, I think RGM should be the team to pull it off, because they're capable of just... I've been asked to Simba my cat. I'm being spammed, so... Hey, you little... Hey,
Bring it up.
come here. Come here.
Is
come
this
here.
your roommate, Cat?
Let's Simba The cat.
Ah,
This is the cat. You got Simbat. You got. Now go to the floor, please. You're working.
it's the circle of life.
Continue.
that
Yeah.
there. I-
And he's back.
I-
Okay, so continue.
I was also going to say that, like, compared to Worlds, where we've seen a lot of very heavy blue side wins early on, there's also worth saying that I think a lot of our teams in this tournament in particular have gotten some spice they've been cooking up. They've got a lot of interesting pocket picks, got a lot of counter picks we've been saying, which is definitely colouring it. The other thing is Fearless. Fearless just changes the way draft priorities works. Fearless changes how powerful things like first pick becomes, because you can't keep picking the same really broken champion every game. You can't just keep saying, well, if you leave Yone up, we'll just first pick it every time, and that means the power of that initial pick disappears. I think also in this meta, when you've actually got a few champions that are quite strong, it's like, okay, I get one super powerful pick. Yeah, well, we've got red 1 and 2, so we'll pick 2 super powerful. So, great. So you add in a few more of those caveats. I do think game 1 can still be more blue side favored. I think as the series goes on, though, you'll start to see red side become more and more potent, at least in terms of that kind of counter pick power and the fact that your blind picks get less and less available as the games go on.
I think that's exactly what happened yesterday. But this is a soft Fearless as well. It's not that aggressive one where if anybody picks the champion, it's removed from the entire series. It's only if you pick it, it's removed for you. And then you have to think about it on the next banning phase and when the sides are going to be swapped as well. So it's a little bit more chill. Initialized. Let me know.
So, like, I somewhat disagree. Somewhat.
Okay.
And
You think this is
this is
aggressive?
why. Kind of, it's different in the sense that, particularly for picks and bans, what it means is, like, let's take Yone as an example. And I come at this having done, like, nearly 3 years of Fearless casting with LDL and stuff. I did a bit of LPL co-streaming for it earlier in the year as well. One of the big things that happens is, if it's banned for both sides, then it's banned for both sides. And you just get like, okay, so the Yone's come through, great, it's not in the game.
Yeah.
If it's in this kind of half Fearless type thing, it's like, okay, I first picked Yone on blue side. I'm back on blue side, and I can no longer do that. However, or at least I can't pick it. However, I have to ban it, otherwise I give it up on red side anyway. And they don't even have to pick it up in the first 3 picks necessarily, because we can't pick it and take it away from them either. So you end up in this scenario where you are almost effectively soft banned in your own way because you don't have that champion there. And you are sometimes obligated to banning it on sides you wouldn't normally do that because it is still in the game, just not for you. And that can really warp drafts too.
It makes your bans feel way more squeezed, especially once you get later and later in. I think games sort of like 3-4 is kind of the peak of it, where there's so much that you've lost out on, but by game 5, there's so much that everybody's lost out on that you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel or pulling things out of complete left field. But yeah, games 3 and 4, that can really begin to hurt.
Well, it's game 1, though. Natives versus RGM, and RGM are going to start on the red side. Well, Darius, Skarner, the usual. We're expecting that Syndra, the Ashe as well. That is the stable one right now, unless there's something surprising. And the Yone, we've been talking about the Yone non-stop. That should be on the red side, I believe, for RGM.
It's going to be a triple ban against Raider. I'm calling it now. It's all the things that are really obnoxious in the 1v1. They might even just get rid of the Camille and say, screw it, we don't have to deal with that, even if it is a little less blind pickable. But those double bans there, very clutch against Raider. He's a big Darius player. A lot of the meta top laners right now don't enjoy Darius very much if you're willing to do it. We've seen a lot of Jacks succeed a lot. There's the Camille. Again, 16 and 4. Don't give the guy an angle on it, especially if you know that you want to play those kind of brutal attacks.
This is kind of rough, though, because this means that Syndra and Ashe are available, for instance. So you giving up one, and you might take 2 interesting picks for RGM on the red side, just as you talked about previously. The Cassante is the last one, also removing a little bit for the top side. So Archfiend is not that happy. There you go. You take the Ashe, but Syndra is available, for instance.
Yeah, MKR
do that.
didn't look the best on this Ashe in the most recent game that we saw. Wasn't able to pick up a lot of kills. Worries me a little bit that they're going for the first pick with it, but I guess it does make sense, right? You can blind pick it relatively easily. It's not the most punishable, but it has felt like RGM, they haven't needed to play around that bot side so much. When they get their top side really popping off, that's when they're looking best. Things like the Viego here, available and flexible for this team. I don't think the RGM are going to be feeling too squeezed at the moment, and pretty happy with what they can pick up. The way the Syndra, either of those will be happy with. The way, bit more range, I like it.
Oh, because you take the way, you take the Viego, you put a question mark, you allow the Syndra to be picked by natives. For instance, if you pick the Syndra and the Ashe, you're using two great weapons in the first game, and if you lose that one, it's gonna be wait. We just used Ashe and Syndra. Oh boy.
It could be quite tricky. It's also worth saying, of course, this is Lingard. He's a big Hwei player in the bot lane as well, so that could still go down there. Fierce could take it mid. You've got those options. I do think Hybrid's going towards their very famous volley bet. Again, a flex with no Archfiend could potentially pick that one up too. Alongside Divergence with the LeBlanc. Gives them quite a powerful mid game here. Because you hit level 3, you can start doing some scary things on the volley bear. But then once those level 6s start coming on through, you can have the Ashe into the volley bear ult with the LeBlanc diving on top as well. Your ability to accelerate from that kind of level 6 to 9 to 11 mark where you got those first items, those first use of those ultimate could be very, very scary here. And Regem do need to be a little aware of that ability to tower dive in particular. I think the Galio might be a fairly solid answer to maybe help deal with a volley bear tower turnoff.
I like that a lot. I think the volley bear works really well, not just into the volley bear, as you're saying, but also into that Ashe. You know, somebody gets caught out with an Ashe arrow and you can get to them much quicker. You can go and support pretty easily, and we really are needing some frontline, some tankiness right here, because Regem, they've got a ton of that early damage that you can get in a team fight, but they're really going to need somebody to be able to walk forwards, face check. Anytime there's a LeBlanc, it makes these squishy and mobile champions like the Hwei very vulnerable, so you do need to be careful of that, and I think that the Galio gives you a lot in that situation.
Also worth noting, we have seen a fair amount of Galio top.
It's all a flex.
Bit matchup dependent, but it could very much be a flex still, so do keep your eyes on that, especially because as we've just said, Hwei could be bot lane for Lingard. I think the Braum ban, just want to call that one out, is very sensible here, because it's just very, very potent. The Ashe give you that front line to kind of keep people safe. It allows a lot of rundown. I do, however, want to note that Natives have currently 4-banned Raider.
Yep.
They might be looking for a 5th here,
The
just to
5th
ensure
one.
that all of them are gone. Just get rid of the Nasus, you know, why not at this point?
There you go. Wow. Raider, can you play?
I mean,
still has some
there's
options,
the Fiora left in terms of things that he's played before. I wouldn't want it here in this composition.
At least this year, right? Like, yeah, the Fiora is something you could. I don't know how easy it is this game. In fairness, you've got the Galio, so it might be easier. Sona for Simpy would be hilarious. I don't know how good it would be. You can punish people like the LeBlanc and the volley bear stepping forward too aggressively.
now we're
And I think a Rel would be a little bit more normal, and it works better with the Galio.
So the Galio loses one position right now in terms of flexible, with the Rel being picked. On the other side, do you want to use the Leona that early into the previous draft? The Alistar could pair up with this Ashe, but apparently they want to take this first game. It's not only thinking about, if I use this one, I won't be able to play it on the second game if you lose. Might as well just play some cards, and there you go. Leona is going to wrap it up, and now you have to reveal the final card. Who's going to jungle? Who's going to be the top player? So if you take the Renekton, options for Raider are kind of slim, but there's still some.
Yeah, could
There
lock
you
the
go.
Gnar. It's pretty blindable. You've had a lot of bans thrown at you, and this is kind of potentially okay. Urgot's hilarious. We have seen a bit of it in recent weeks as well. It can be quite annoying for certain matchups topside. It's probably alright into the Renekton, so I could see that one being an opportunity too, but we'll see. Again, this is Raider. There's some wild stuff that could still come out. We're seeing a lot of hovers, so we'll wait to see what the eventual choice is. They decide the Gnar is a better option in the sense of it being a little bit more flexible in terms of playstyle. You can play with resource, you can play without resource, you can play the teleport, you can play the split push. Game state dependent.
There you go. Both compositions are locked in. We have natives, we have RGM right now. When we look into the big scheme of things and we look into both teams, can you tell me the personality or what they're trying to achieve with these compositions, starting with natives and then analyzing RGM?
I'll jump on natives if you want. If you want to take RGM Boxer, because natives for me is a level 6 to 9 comp. It is first ultimates, first items, win at grubs. You've got Renekton, LeBlanc, Volley Bear, Ashe. You get the Solar Flare in there as well, and you want to hit someone with all of your CC and pop them and turn the fight from there. If, however, you don't win some of those early skirmishes, those early objective fights, the game gets a lot trickier. You've still got some ways to play the game because you've got a good pick. But you will hit this point where the Viego and the Galio make it very hard to ensure that you're getting someone for free.
Bloxer, for RGM, what is your take on the personality they're trying to bring in?
Team fight. Let's team fight. Let's get all 5 of our champions on top of each other at once. and hope that all 5 of their champions also stand on top of each other at once, because in that situation you win every time. I think once the level 6s are unlocked, this is a really interesting composition. I'll be very interested to see where this Galio moves around. I think this comp is also pretty reliant on the Hui poke early on in a team fight, so that once everybody goes in, you can get that initial kill to really unlock your Viego. Until that point, the Viego doesn't have that much to do in these team fights, but once you get that first kill, there's a lot of great bodies to be able to inhabit, and this composition can really get that first kill and snowball it quite a lot. I don't think you particularly need to worry too much about bot lane. You can gank there, Ashes are always a little bit juicy as a target, but I would rather see a lot more of the focus going towards that top side, towards that mid, to really stop there being too many kills going over mid and try to get some unlocked top, because the Gnar can really take over this game. I think a Gnar that's in a tanky position and also able to do good damage in the mini form could be a real key to unlocking this game.
They try to cut the nails out of Raider, but it's time to show what they have inside of the rift, and for that we need the Caster. So draw your sword and take it to the rift, gentlemen.
I was wondering what his throw was going to be. Hello everybody and welcome to the Caster Desk. Sorry about the extended yap on those 3, but we are finally into some League of Legends, going to get to watch some games. We were talking a little bit about the drafts. We have a few opinions. Bloxer actually brought up something I will get onto briefly, but I've really liked, which kind of didn't occur to me. But my major concern right now is I think natives, initialize this right, like they're very solid, like past 6. I mean, LeBlanc and Volibear are actually going to be better before then as well, so they'll kind of 3 spike as well and be able to skirmish early. But I worry on the other side just not having enough damage. Like, there's so much crowd control. You got Galio, you got the Mega Gnar, you've got Rel. But, like, Hui is really your only serious damage there. And, like, I think eventually Volibear just won't die to him. So I do have concerns on that.
That's the problem, because there is a lot of setup for the team fights, there is a lot of setup for the damage. The problem is there is no actual follow-up with the damage. So yeah, we control somebody really well for a really long period of time, but do we actually kill them? That's a very big question mark to me. I feel like there is a lot of pressure on Hui and on Viego to get accelerated rather early in the game, especially for Viego, because otherwise, yes, this team might struggle later in the game.
But this is where I think the Viego is brilliant. Now, normally Viego, you want to kind of pair it with a bit of burst so you can kind of get that first target and steal them as quick as possible. But if you do find that CC, you do layer it down, you steal that Ashe, you steal that LeBlanc, and then suddenly you are making up for that damage deficit that you've got. So you do have a little window with the Viego, which I quite like here. But we'll have to see. It's going to come down to execution. I will say, in terms of ease of execution, I don't actually know if I have a really clear read on who I think's got that. I think natives have a lot of non-committal engage, which is always very, very nice to have. It means you don't have to throw yourself into the mix. Like, Simpy to start a fight has to jump into the middle of everyone, and then Fierce has to throw himself in as a follow-up. But, you know, if you hit the Ashe ult, the Leona ult, or you don't, that decides whether or not you take the fight or not.
Yeah, and then your cooldowns are mega short, so you can try again a little bit later and see if it actually works out this time or not. My thing is how both teams are going to be playing about the Gnar. Because for NTZ, I feel like if there is the Mega Gnar when they're starting a fight, it might be an issue for them because there's so much frontline on the RGM side with the Mega Gnar form. Like, how to even cut through that? Are you going to have enough consistent damage to do something to them?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on kind of how this goes. Right now, we are into the earlier stages, and those earlier stages do last for 2 minutes as we get a pause, unfortunately. Our producer, I'm going straight off topic. Our producer said today they were going to find out if they were cursed.
I guess we did.
Yeah, they are cursed. They're every show that they are part of. Unfortunately, there's been pauses, there's been issues, there's been delays, so...
Oh, we're
Sorry,
back.
mate. You're cursed,
It's the smallest
but we're
pause
back
I've
into
seen.
game.
It's fine, all good. Not too cursed. It's like a tiny curse, not your whole bloodline.
It's a couple of generations.
Yeah, one or two. It's nothing really.
They said something in my ear. I don't know what they said. Probably
It
a
was
5.
either thanks or or that. Either of the two.
One of the two. So early, we're seeing both the junglers are going to be clearing upwards towards the top side of the map. I think that kind of comes down to the fact that, like, they don't need to clear bot side because I don't really expect there to be much kill pressure down there early, and I think both of them know that. I think snowballing one of these two on the top side could really be a big difference. Like, if this Renekton gets ahead, Raider's life is going to be rough, and
Yeah.
this is what Renekton does. You know, he's very controlling in lane, but kind of falls off a bit of a cliff unless miles ahead. So
Yeah.
I think Schofield being aware of that has also cleared up towards the top side, just making sure that, you know, Archfiend isn't going to take over this lane early.
The whole early game until we get to the level 6 on the mid laner so we can start doing something funny with the LeBlanc. Before that, we are all about not just the top lane, but about Renekton more specifically, because I feel like that is going to be the decisive thing as to how the teams are going to feel in the early game. Because if we get Renekton ahead, cool, as NTZ, we're very happy. We play around the Grubs, we play around the Herald, we control the top part of the map. If, as RNGM, we shut the Renekton down, hey, we can do the same on our side, and we know that Renekton is going to feel kind of useless later on in the game.
Yeah. Nice ward there by Raider, actually. A little bit further down, so he has plenty of time to react to the potential gank coming in from Hybraj. Because, I mean, when you look at the way the top lane has been changed, hard to make a gank happen there. We do see a little bit of trading, but I didn't really think we were going to get much of that. Do see Leo Lee Cargo, losing half their HP, but you don't really have enough of consistent damage at this point to be able to deal with it. And it does look like Diverse is just going to get a little... for something onto Schofield, but I think Schofield's not going to go near him, so it'll be A-okay.
No.
And yeah, I think, you know, the big thing which was hit on the desk is, you know, natives are going to want to spike at 6, and they're going to want to do something with that spike at 6. And if the game carries on in this state, I do think, you know, RGM are going to be relatively happy with that.
They are. To be fair, they don't spike as hard at 6. My understanding of this draft is that they want to spike a bit later, and basically they want to take those big fights. Not that big, maybe, but that's interesting.
I mean, Archfiend didn't full commit there. We do actually see a lot of damage went onto MKR, making sure this wave crashes in. Hybraj actually has to flash away. They do put that veil down there by Schofield, but looks like they were just making sure the wave collapsed. But that did cost Hybraj's flash, which is going to be pretty big because he's going to be hitting 6 soon. We say that. They get the Zenith Blade off onto Simpy. They find the lockdown. There's going to be the burn, but MKR gets caught out by the fear. First blood over to MKR. He's just about surviving. He's able to limp away. Lingard does have Schofield in the pocket. It looks like Schofield may look for MKR. Not going to find it.
No, it's very hard to find him, to be honest, because there is almost full HP. Volibear is still protecting him. There is no cleanse anymore on that Ashe, so that's possibly something to try to play around. But it is what it is in the end. It is the first blood for NTZ. It is RGM overstepping a little bit on the bot lane after rotating their jungler really nicely to help secure the state of the bot lane and to help stabilize it a little bit. They feel a little bit overconfident, they overstep, and they have to pay the dire price for that.
Well, looks like Simpy now rotating over, knowing the grubs are coming up. Moving over into the area. Comes in for the taunt onto Diverse, but it's a lovely little counter pick onto this LeBlanc, this Galio here.
It is, though, yes. I was a little bit worried about the LeBlanc into Hui situation, but rotating Galio in the end of the mid lane is helping a lot RGM to help this mid lane a little bit in check.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit of damage off on the Diverse. They find the CC onto him. He has to ping back there, but Simpy may pay the price. They're able to secure the kill onto Diverse, but now they're looking for Hybraj. Hybraj goes down. Schofield steals the form. Does have the ability to flash forwards, but the W comes out. Now Schofield needs to be careful to catch the Zenith Blade on to Fierce, who flashes forward. Diverse flashes away as well, and with the tower shots coming in, Diverse is just getting paid.
So we give up 2 kills in the end for NTZ as RGM with two attempts in a row to get the kills in return, but we get absolutely nothing. What is worrisome for RGM right now is the fact that it's a 2-0-0 LeBlanc as the result of this idea on the mid lane that RGM had but couldn't really play out.
Looks like Archfiend needs to be a little bit careful, gets himself slammed back, and there will be something here for RGM.
No way!
Archfiend flashed away! Damn!
They did it again!
RGM are committing a lot for these fights, and they are not getting paid off for it. Does look like the grubs are going to go over to RGM. Natives will take the dragon in response, but as we've seen at Worlds, a lot of attention's gone on to getting these 6 grubs. It is a massive buff for your team. As Raider, actually going to deny Archfiend a little bit of time on the wave. Does lose his health for it.
at least the grabs are actually good news for GM after this disaster after disaster in both of the mid lane and the top lane. They get the grabbies because they managed to slow down the enemy Volibear. He had to reset, and it was really hard to find an opening onto the top lane afterwards. They give up the Drake, and it's a nice Drake, but hey, playing around grabbies, especially when you have Gnar and Galio who have really nice side push potentially if you need to unleash them in that case, it's really nice to try to play towards that 6 grabbies, or at least 4 grabbies, honestly.
Well, looks like Simpy might be in danger. Highbridge not going to be able to find him. They do commit with the Ash Arrow. Diverse comes in. They've got the Galio. Can they find the burst in time? Diverse goes 3-0 on the LeBlanc. Taunt does hit onto Leo, but they're going to be able to flash away to safety themselves. Ult comes out from Lingard. Doesn't make the connection. Now GM just kind of getting run around a little bit here. This is exactly what we want to see natives do with this comp. Executed on it beautifully.
Yes, we play around the Ash Arrow, we commit when we see that it hits, and we decide that we can commit and we have enough damage to commit and to take the kill. We get out of it. We feed our LeBlanc really nicely. It's a 3-0-0 situation on the mid lane for LeBlanc. It's gonna be first item, I assume, on the next recall for Diverse. That is something NTZ can play around nicely. So we can expect that for the next objectives, this LeBlanc is gonna be wherever the action is gonna be, because hey, she's gonna be really deadly for GM.
Yeah, it'll be that Luden's Companion coming in soon. And I'll be interested to see what Diverse second item is, because for a long time it was Shadow Flame. But there has been changes recent where a lot of LeBlancs are switching it up to going for Storm one, the zappy one. Can't remember the name of it now.
The Storm Surge.
Storm Surge, thank you.
Yeah.
That's because that got buffed recently, so the threshold to kind of hit it is a bit better. So we have seen more LeBlancs taking that. Now, we have to keep an eye on that for the moment, because Highbridge has just found Schofield. I don't think Schofield's going to be living for long as he gets Goomba stomped.
Whatever you just called it. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. And we have another pause in the meantime, just to observe what
It's
just
Mario,
happened.
man.
What?
It's Mario Goombas. You know, the little mushroom guys. He just jumped on him like a Mario mushroom.
Oh!
Yeah, there you go. It's all right.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel a little bit of rage in my heart right now. I'm a LeBlanc main. I don't make this this a hidden fact. Galio mid, who buys Spectre's Cow as his first item, I'd be molding. I'd be absolutely molding playing into that. Even if you're fed, the damage is going to take so long to burst through that Galio. I think it's going to be a roam heavy game for this LeBlanc, which is what you should be doing, to be fair, but you are not getting 1v1 kills versus that Galio, especially when the Merc Treads come in, which I assume they will show up because of the amount of CC with the Leona and the Ashe as well. So, yeah, I think this is going to be very roam heavy here as we cut back into the action. Brief pause there.
And we're looking at the bot lane.
Yeah, Lingard actually does get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but brilliant lockdown from Simpy. MKR has to cleanse. He takes a whole heap of damage. He's very lucky that Lingard didn't have the ultimate available, though that's coming up soon, and Simpy remounts up, so there could be a little bit of danger here for the side of natives, with Highbridge on the top side as well. Raider forced to flash away. They can't find the lockdown onto him. Raider's able to flash away, but Schofield in the area, maybe looking for something. Hyperproc comes out from Raider, Archfiend, with that ultimate pop building up the rage for the potential burst. Raider, though, about to gnar out himself, so I think that's just going to be enough for natives as they're going to walk away. And yeah, here's going to be the LeBlanc versus Spectre's Cow damage. It's not fun.
Where's the damage? Hello?
It's not fun.
It's not going through. Yeah, Galen literally does not feel whatever Diverse is trying to throw at him at this moment. This must be infuriating. But we were looking at the bot lane a little bit earlier with all the action there. That feels like such a great spot for LeBlanc to try to go to.
Yeah.
There are targets for her, especially look at Hui, the best target for her to try to jump onto with all the movement available to LeBlanc to just try to lock him down and to burst him down.
Especially when they're flashless. I think that's the big thing. We did see Diverse commit ultimate to clear the wave out. I mean, now you got Luden's Companion. If you watch the W, you'll just one-shot the back wave. There you go.
Yep.
So you do get a lot more wave control at this point once that item's finished up. Hence why LeBlancs take it and immediately clears the wave, looks for a potential rotate, looks for a potential move, especially now that that Ashar's back up. This is the time, but it's on natives to get control of the area. You got Grubby spawning up soon as well. Or have you?
Maybe
I
good
think it's
idea to actually
Herald
leave
now.
this bot lane alone. No, it should be still Grubbies.
Yeah, you're right. It's the icons messing with me.
It happens. It's alright. They're just still looking for something on the bot lane, though. It's interesting. But that is actually something I could have expected from this LeBlanc. Standing on the mid lane against Galio is way too painful. Just rotating to the bot lane and trying to see if there is anything you can do here makes more sense.
I mean,
long
Diverse
as it's
is
not dying.
potentially a shutdown here. They're going to try and keep some pressure onto them, but Diverse actually used ultimate just to get the extra range. Schofield throws down the W.
Oh no.
They've got Sweeper, so they know that he's not in that bush anymore. And all the while, this is, you know, the grubs are going to get returned. The dragon spawns up fairly soon. If they can pick off Diverse or Leo here, there is a world where they're actually going to be able to turn this around. But Diverse comes in, he immediately gets hit by the fear, finds himself the kill. Can he ping back in time? I don't think he can. He has the flash. Schofield's able to take the shutdown, and now with the chains and with the damage, Leo finds himself locked in place. Ash Arrow has been thrown out, though. Are they going to be able to get there? No! Double kill for Schofield.
A double kill for Viego, and Galio is in the proximity, and the dragon has just spawned up. The timing is absolutely perfect for LGM. It hurts that they gave away the 3 grabbies, but hey, they got a lot in return because we got a lot of turret plates and a lot of gold into that way. We get back the kills, we get the first Drake of the game for ourselves. I mean, yeah, it's the first Drake for LGM in this game. It's all nice. The bot part of the map is suddenly in their control.
Yeah, really nice play there. I genuinely feel like Diverse should have just probably played it a little bit more safe and not gone for the wave. The Solar Flare comes out, and this is the thing where, like, LeBlanc does dumpster away, but you have to be very aware of that fear. If that fear hits, the matchup gets infinitely harder and you'll just get poked out. So you need
Because
to kind
it's
of bait
too much
it out.
time, right, for LeBlanc when she's standing in that
such a long
control, not
fear.
able to do anything. Yeah,
It's such a long fear.
it is. I'm so glad I don't play against Hui.
Yeah, I banned him for a while. It was very obnoxious. Archfiend, just getting a little bit of poke out, but Honeyfruit's back up. Now, we got the Rift Herald spawning soon, so I assume this is going to be the next objective for our teams to really put attention down. As you can see, everybody's rotating over. MKR was just dealing with the bot wave, getting it shoved in. He's going to look to head over into the area as well. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is up and available. And I think now's the time where we get to see that kind of big lead that was built here early. Shut down earlier, though, as they hit the Ashar, but it's onto Fierce.
Where is the
and Diverse
damage?
is going, I'm not going to follow that one up. And now, Hybrash is forced to ult away to safety, as he can't go close. They do jump in. They're looking for the taunt. They only catch it onto Leo. Chains do connect onto Fierce. The slow comes out. Looks like natives are going to be able to limp away from this one. The tankiness of this Galio is just completely stopping anything from happening. Diverse can't one-shot.
And that's even without the Gnar. Imagine what happens if there is a double strong front lane for RGM. Okay, triple, including the Rel, to be fair. But even without that, they still get the control over the top part of the river to themselves. They get the Herald with no attempt from NTC to do anything in that pit, because what can they even do? And they spread around the map trying to fish for something else, knowing that this objective, they give up potentially the top lane turret as well. Not even potentially, yeah, look how fast it's going down.
Yeah, I don't really think there's going to be much you're going to be able to do about that one, as that falls. Archfiend just being forced to play back, knowing that he's got the whole enemy team on the other side, or on his side. We do see a little bit of a return fire from MKR, but I mean, it's an Ashe with no items. Just a little bit of attack speed and some AD from just base items. I don't think this tower's going to fall. They're going to teleport in onto MKR. MKR's flash and cleanse, so they should be safe. No Crystal Arrow. Raider flashes forwards. Teleport comes out in response. MKR forced to use the flash as he's just going down to the Hyperprox. Raider's about to gnar out. They do come in with a big old Magnet Storm, though, onto the 2, but Hybrash is coming in. Galio's there. Teleport coming out as well. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is up. Can they find their mark? Hybrash forced to flash away. There's going to be the burst on to Raider to force him back in. Solar Flare follows up. Archfiend able to find the kill, and somehow natives have found the turnaround here. Fierce flashes forward. No way! MKR goes down. Diverse answers back out, but they lose a tower. They're going to lose another tower. That was rough.
Oh, that was rough, buddy. They lose so much in the process, and they lose the style points, obviously, because what Fierce did there is incredible. And Guy wasn't, again, taking a lot of damage during this whole process, because Guy is going full tanky, dealing damage back while not actually taking a lot in return. The rotation time from RGM is what astonishes me in this fight, because they pressed all the teleports almost immediately when they saw that something was happening on the bot lane. Simpy is fine.
Simpy's forced to flash. Diverse Played a little bit with fire there, but was able to turn it around. Gone for the Ether Wisp, so it will be that Storm Surge coming up. I believe it's 25% of someone's max HP now to proc it, so it's a lot easier to get the procs off, especially versus someone like a tanky Galio, who before I think it was 35%. I can't actually remember what it was before they buffed it, but it's a lot easier to
Ask me
find that
about the
first.
numbers, brother. I don't remember numbers ever.
I genuinely, unless Gangplank or LeBlanc builds it, I don't know the numbers on items at all.
Wow, that's
The two
that's
champs
kind
I
of
play.
sad, bro.
Yeah. The 2 champs I play, that's it. Does look like Archfiend's about to get himself a little bit of love. I think he knows that, so he's going to move on. They throw down the Hawk Shot just to spot it out. I do worry for natives. I mean, they're playing well. I say this, I'm going to have to hold this for the moment because Fierce, I don't think he has the flash. He used it earlier. Taunt's not going to hit. He's just perma-slowed by MKR. They can't really find the damage. MKR still very, very weak. Just got that Kraken Slayer. Solar Flare does hit onto 3. Doesn't get the stun. And Simpy goes down. Forced to use that flash earlier from Diverse. Does look like we're going to turn towards the Dragon. As, unfortunately, another break.
We first turn into pause and we can discuss what just happened. But honestly, what just happened, I gotta echo you. The Ashe is in a very unfortunate situation right now because even with the empowered Q, you can see that there is no stable damage coming out of that Ashe. Not something the team can really rely on. And even if the setup is good, even if they can hit the ultimates, even if they can pull out some control out of them, they lack the follow-up, which is funny because it's something we're worried about for the other side of map, for RGM's comp.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the full tank Galio is actually really big brain into the kind of like burst heavy comp that you've been locking in there. And obviously the Ashe will be your stable sustained damage, but Ashe needs kind of 2 items to really be able to comfortably do that. I mean, you saw with the Kraken, with the Q activated as well, it took so long to get that Galio low. And sure, to be fair, I believe the LeBlanc wasn't there when that was happening. So, you know, without having Diverse
Diverse was a bit late, I believe, yeah.
Yes, so, I mean, maybe if Diverse was there, a 6-1 LeBlanc might be a bit of a difference maker. But regardless, you know, you're not going to have all 5 at all points. And it does look like the attention is turning towards this Dragon. Highbridge is going to start it up. He is very squishy with this Sundered Sky build, so... You can see multiple times getting jumped onto. Diverse tries to jump away, has to flash over the wall. Schofield may look for the chase over, but everybody is low, slowed by the Ashe as MKR tries to put the damage down, but that's going to be Schofield securing the kill onto him. Natives, I mean, they're just too squishy.
They are squishy and unprepared for the fights like that, which is what baffles me even more, I believe, that they're in squishness. Because you can be squishy and still go for an objective and still take an objective even if the enemy wants to fight you, if you are prepared well enough for it. I actually can see quite a lot of offensive vision from natives on the enemy side of the jungle. But on the other side, the teleport, for example, was coming from their side of the jungle. It was coming from RGM. And they could not really find an answer to it on time. I think NTZ right now would really love to slow down and to build up to the second item on everybody on their team, not just LeBlanc, because LeBlanc with 2 items is not able to carry the team when everybody else around her is dying back and forth.
I mean, I think it's a big difference maker now. Schofield survived by the skin of their teeth. Now that you've got that 3rd item finished up, the burst potential there from Diverse is going to be really big. And I think Lingard, Schofield, and Mininar Raider are going to have to be very keenly aware of where this LeBlanc is.
Yes.
But I think the problem is yeah, they've loaded a lot of damage into Diverse, but MKR not really comparable. And Highbridge going for this Divine Sunderer first. It's not Divine Sunderer, it's Sundered Sky. Same thing, basically. Sundered Sky in that build has made them so squishy for so long. They've now finally got half a tank item. But every fight, I think I've seen Highbridge ulting away more than in. Like, they've had to be so careful because they just get blown up. And, like, Sundered Sky is great because it gives you a lot of sustain, but you also need that kind of survivability to follow it.
Yeah, and you don't have it. And Sundered Sky actually has been nerfed quite recently, if I recall correctly. It is not as good as a first item as it used to be, especially in Bruiser-ish junglers.
Every item got nerfed other than Heartstone,
Oh,
right?
true.
They
Okay,
nerfed
yes.
everything. As Raider caught by the Ashar and the Solar Flare. MKR, a sniper, as Archfiend secures the kill. Beautiful Solar Flare over the wall as well by Leo. Landed that perfectly. Bullseye.
That's exactly how NTZ should be playing, though, around their composition.
Yep.
Just get the control onto the enemy from afar. As long as you hit it and as long as somebody else is nearby, you're almost guaranteed a kill if you have either Archfield or Diverse in the proximity to go and secure it.
Yeah, I mean, you are a pick comp versus a more teamfight-oriented comp. So, yeah, definitely want to be utilizing those tools as such to be able to secure those kills. Another kill goes over. That's Archfiend who picked his first one up, so it's going to give him a little bit of a boost in power for now. I really do think they want to start funneling resources on to MKR. I mean, you can look at the CS deficit between him and Lingard. It's only a 600 gold lead, but you can see that, you know, MKR not really picking up too much on the gold front, as it does look like there's potential for a pick coming out. But, I mean, no Leona ultimate, no Ashar, no Renekton either. It's very risky to taking a fight in that jungle, especially with such little vision.
All three are gonna be back very soon, though. Again, NTZ can play a lot around the fact that their cooldowns are so low that they can try again and again and again and see if one time out of the couple, actually, we're gonna pick somebody and we're gonna take them down. The question is, can we do something after that? Is there an objective to take? Is there anything to take control over?
Diverse is putting this game on his back, man. Look at that build. Gone for a Medjay. I mean, he had a 10 stack, but that is very, very optimistic.
Yes, you know the curse of the book, right? The moment you die it. The moment you buy it, sorry.
Oh,
you die
Lingard.
immediately. Oh, the arrow again!
Okay, maybe not. Diverse secures the kill. They turn the tower off. Simpy gets flashed away from the solar flare. As Leo is going to be able to also just about make their way out. Natives are finding the picks.
Yeah.
And they are forcing the plays. Really nice stuff from them. 11-5 on the kill, but the gold lead, crucially, is very close. They've been able to find a pick here and there, but they've struggled to be able to get any major objectives off the map. They're trying to crack open this mid, but in comes the taunt onto MKR. Instantly has to throw the cleanse out. It's going to be a Mega Gnar coming soon. Raider Gnar's out. He does get the Gnar to multiple people, but there's going to be a 1-for-1 trade so far. Schofield being bursted out as well. MKR's going to slow him down. And all in all, the tower still stands.
We just exchanged 1 for 1, and we can't really do anything afterwards. And NTZ cannot push any further because there is still the tankiness of RGM standing fiercely on this mid lane. And at the same time, RGM can't really find much opening on the map except for maybe try to start prepping for the Drake, because we have a Drake coming up in half a minute from now.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one for RGM. Puts them on salt point. Get a lot of pressure off the back of that one.
They just gotta be careful though, because there are the ultimates available already for NTZ's bot lane, and they can do the same thing as they did before, because two times in a row they didn't just find a pick, they found a squishy pick on the enemy side that they could deal with very quickly after the arrow hits them. If they do it again, if they can remove Hui or Gnar before he's the Mega Gnar, that can be a fight won for them immediately.
Yeah, I think the big thing is Raider spent 70% of his health bar stunned in Mini Gnar. So, oh my word, Storm Surge procs takes him to 213 HP. Yikes. That was a lot of damage. And in comes the Asher. They do hit it onto one. Looks like they're actually going to full commit for the fight here. Raider, though, about to Gnar out. This could get very dicey. Fierce gets a taunt onto 4. Absolutely huge. Hybridge ults in and immediately has to flash out. They're going to look to chase up onto Leo. Slow comes out from the volley. Natives, Diverse, just going to do his best to try and escort his team to safety. But RGM, their health bars are healthier. And this should just be their dragon.
If NTZ don't find a pick when the fight starts, they lose the fight immediately, because they do not have extended damage. They cannot take extended fights.
My bad. I thought Diverse stole that.
No, he tried to. To be fair, he tried to.
He did. I thought he tried to steal. I thought he successfully stole that one, but he didn't.
Nope.
That's bad, though. This is a really nice Drake to have against this comp, because they're going to look to burst you. If you can just survive that initial burst, you'll be able to sustain back up. And we saw exactly what happened. Like, they threw everything onto Lingard, took him to 200 HP. He waddles out and then comes back in with the teleport. Next time, if he has Ocean Soul, he'll just be able to heal up naturally. We are seeing Archfiend, though, find Simpy. I didn't think there was any threat here, but apparently there is. Down he goes.
It looked like Simpy was just warding. Everything was peaceful until it wasn't. Raider, though, is going to be Mega Gnar soon. If RGM realize what's happening, they can try to answer.
I mean, it's very easy. They got the Galio, they got the Mega Gnar. This could get really dicey. They're looking for the lockdown onto multiple people. Diverse jumps the wall. There's going to be the taunt from Fierce. Baron, half HP. Natives really not that tanky. They are slowly getting whittled down by this thing, and the shots coming in from Lingard at range are pretty effective. They find the lockdown though onto Fierce. They're going to look to finish him up, but they find the killing spree onto the volley bear. It's a 2-for-1 so far. There's the Zenith Blade to keep the pressure up onto MKR. He falls as well, and now RGM can turn their attention towards the Baron.
That's a slightly different issue that we saw in the fights before. I don't think the fight is over though.
Raider, low HP, no real follow-up damage. Unfortunately, Diverse couldn't get in range to find that dissonance. And there it is. Gonna get away.
We don't get the Baron, and everybody dies, and now RGM can go and get the Baron for themselves. It's almost a thank you for the leash situation.
I don't think there's going to be any way. Diverse is going to have to pull a bloody miracle off here. No ultimate available. Forces the Naro out, but I mean, that's not really the end of the world. It's very short cooldown. Teleport coming in to make sure Diverse can't really cause any more mischief. And that's going to just be Baron for RGM. Natives struggled to find the damage in the fight, and it really boils back to the same issue I've said. Hybris is just too squishy. I think this build was greedy.
Yeah. This build was greedy. He's trying to go less greedy now, but it feels like it's a little bit too late trying to apply a band-aid to the open wound.
Yeah.
The thing is though, NTZ have the damage. Diverse has a lot of burst damage. He's still keeping the stocks on the book. He's making sure they're still increasing. Hasn't died yet, which is amazing for someone who does speak the book. However, in the previous fight, its whole damage went on to Fierce, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of clicks on the abilities to kill Fierce. And by the time you're done with him, the time is gone, and you can't really do anything to anybody else in RGM because they have used that time to take you down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, about to get the death cap, which can be a massive boon in power, but I mean, I really feel like, you know, the issue is they're struggling to find the angles, as Diverse needs to be a little bit careful here. He's going to be able to safely make their way out. As I mean, it's 2.5 items onto MKR. It still feels like MKR is kind of just tickling people, and at the moment they haven't really got that much AD. Got a lot of attack speed items, so going to be a little bit struggling on that front. Does look like they're looking for a potential pick though. Leo does move up. Diverse spots Fierce off. Leo does eat a little bit of CC from Simpy, but ultimately the tower still getting fired onto. MKR is making his way over. Archfiend's lost a lot of HP. There's going to be that CC to start the fight up, and immediately Simpy goes down, but Leo's going to get onto that, and with Schofield taking the Leona, this could get really dicey. Going to force them back here on the LeBlanc just to dash away, buy some space. Solar Flare, Zenith Blade goes a little bit wide. MKR trying his damnedest to find the opening and the damage, but the inhibitor goes down. And it was just a 1-for-1.
It wasn't just 1-for-1 though. Allow me to disagree with you, because losing Leona hurts NTZ so much more than for RGM losing their support. The NTZ's composition lacks a lot of, pretty much it lacks all of the front lane at this moment if their support is down. At the same time, RGM, they still have the front lane, and on top of that, if they really want that Leon, if they want any additional front lane, they have Viego. Viego just literally morphs into Leon, and they're like, hey, we're actually not really losing anything in this fight, and we still take your inhibitor on the top lane.
Teleport from Diverse just to get the wave somewhat sorted out, but is just going to pick up the dragon here, but sorry, the Herald here, but that's 2 dead. Easy pick. And that might just be the game, especially with a Crocodile coming in and just gifting a double. Natives, they weren't able to execute enough on their win conditions while they were ahead, and now this game has just ballooned to a 4,000 gold lead. And MKR never really found the damage on this Ashe.
He will not. He will not. He's still alive though. Might die though right as I'm saying that. But that's 20 seconds on everybody else on the team. I don't think this bot lane can do anything.
I mean, they're going to try their darndest, but down they go regardless. The Nexus will fall next as well. And I had my doubts about this comp. I was worrying there wasn't enough damage, but they were quashed. RGM played that very, very well. And they're able to get themselves the first victory in this best of 5 under their belt.
The idea is we don't really need a lot of damage in the early game if the enemy doesn't have enough damage to kill us.
Yeah.
And we have more sustainable damage, even if it's not as big and bursty as the enemies is. If they can't use their burst against us, what can they do at all?
Yeah, I think the Galio was a really big brain pick into that LeBlanc, because, you know, LeBlanc knows that the Hue is going to be flexible. but by picking that LeBlanc, you kind of force it out of the mid lane, and then you kind
Yeah.
of have an idea of what you can deal with the bot lane. But I don't think they were ready for the Galio pick. That was really, really good at shutting down that from kind of just hard snowballing through that lane. It was honestly just, I think it really came down to, yeah, a lack of damage, a lack of windows to really find the punish. So natives, I don't think they played that game bad, but they're going to have to think about it going into this next game. Now, the good news is it's fearless, so they can't play this again. So they're forced to change, they're forced to adapt. Anyway, we're going to throw ourselves to a quick break, and then we'll be back with our second game of this day. See you in a moment.
Break it down, break it down. Step on the gas, let's get out of town. We're gonna break out and have some fun. We're gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah, yeah. Come on, take your body with you. It's a money weekend. Everything we wanna, we go do. We go do. It's leisure, we go do.
That's a start for RGM taking down the first game. Interestingly enough, I think we can have two signs of the same, like on the coin, and we need to start looking at this game from, I would say, 1 minute until 15 to understand what really happened, and when there was hope for the natives, and you're like, oh, they might make it. This is looking good. Diverse is getting stacked. That Magi's, oh, this is looking clean. Hipbrand was getting happy. Burst the bubble.
Yeah, so I'll start with the bubble itself, and then I'll give Bloxer the pleasure of popping it, because it got a bit interesting. But what happened is we have got ourselves a comp that spikes between level 6 and 9, because you want ultimate, and then 9 is when you get your first completed ability. You've maxed it out, and that is really strong on Renekton, on LeBlanc, on Volibear. You know, you're going through this and you go, yeah, that feels like a really good time to be fighting. and they do a really good job with that. RGM on the other side of that coin index into some of these fights against the incredibly hard spiking team and give over a number of kills, and it got a little bit messy. We're talking around things like the mid lane where you gave 2 kills over to the LeBlanc, who then ends up at 6-0. We're talking about the bot lane where Simpy gets caught out and goes, screw it, we're fighting anyway, and the Ashe gets ahead of the curve. And you end up in this position where natives actually have a very good platform. They've got the LeBlanc, who is very scary against things like the Hui. You can pop some of those people. The Mininar as well will struggle in a side lane against that. You've got the Ashe, who's actually, for credit to MKR, who we've had a lot of criticism for, was hitting a lot of really good arrows. And then the other side of that coin is RGM opting into the fight, saying, oh, we got picked, great, we'll fight. We've got Galio Viego, we can fight this. And they give up a lot of gold. But that stopped working about the certain point. I'm going to take this bubble, pass it over to Bloxer and the great needle of truth that was the late game from 15 minutes onwards.
Unfortunately, we pop in this bubble. It just doesn't work up to a certain point, and that point arrived kind of rudely. It's the moment, at least in my mind, in which a 6-1-2 LeBlanc with Medjay's does not one-shot a Viego who just has a Bork. He lives, you get the Drake, and it feels like it's a little bit over. I mean, the composition was so reliant on the LeBlanc being able to pick up those kills once those early kills go over, that it just doesn't work when the LeBlanc cannot one-shot the key targets. I mean, we did see multiple times where the Hui nearly gets one-shot, where the Gnar does get taken down, but it was never that pick that could really start the fight, and it was just a better team fighting composition that you had. Natives, they didn't... I'm not even going to say they didn't play their composition correctly. They did. It just felt like, unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. Regen were able to play their whole comp a little bit better. And on top of that, Hollow Radiance apparently just won this game, because the second that you had a Galio who was so tanky that he could sit in amongst 3-4 people and just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, what are you going to do about it? It buys so much space for the rest of the team to be able to play out these fights. You need to go back to the drawing board. Luckily, that is what Fearless does. It forces you back to the drawing board, because I think if we replayed this matchup again and again and again, you'd get the same outcome from these drafts. The draft, it just doesn't work.
And, okay, I think maybe that is a step far. I get what you're saying, and in fairness, there's some truth to it, but at that point, it doesn't work. In the early game, it does, and I think probably one of the litmus tests of this, one of the kind of like results, that one of the pieces you can look at to get an idea of why and where this is happening is that volley pair. It's a hybrid special. We know he plays it well. Popped off early, got some good tower dives going where they turned off the bot side tower and blew up the way a couple times. You got the LeBlanc a load of kills. You were in a really good position there. But then you hit the point around those objective fights where I want to call out that last dragon fight in particular. The volley bear is at 1.5 items. He's level 13 versus a level 15 Viego. You have got so much damage coming at you, and as the volley bear, they were calling out on cast, and this is one of the issues that Volley Bear has run into, why we've not seen him so much, is he does run into this issue where if you don't snowball Giga hard to second item, you get stuck at this 1.5 item point, where you're almost obligated to go for Sundered Sky. You don't do anything. You hit your stun, and you don't have the damage, especially in the jungle. It was a little bit different for top lane, but jungle Sundered Sky was nearly obligatory. And then you need to get tank after. If you get stuck at that half item, you don't get going, and that is a little problematic.
I know both of you have the information, but I don't want to talk about it.
I just saw it.
Yeah.
I don't want
that's
to.
fine. We'll come back.
This is an interesting one. Continue.
Yeah, and so you end up in this position where it's like, okay, you're down in levels because you're not able to keep snowballing. You're actually not tanky because all you've got is HP, and even then you're only level 13, so how much do you have? And then you get popped as you drive for the pick and don't get it. And that's the issue when you are going for a comp that spikes super hard, and then you don't play outside lanes. You don't get your picks clean. You do opt into team fights, and so for me, it's the first half of the playbook was great. What happened to the second? Regen, you over-indexed a little early. You took some of those fights. You gave over some stuff. But credit to you, you also kept scrapping for bits and pieces, playing for that tier 1 mid with the Herald, finding some gold in good places, side laning quite well, and then getting to the team fights. That's good stuff. I just think that in another game, you could have ended up allowing that LeBlanc to take over. It didn't happen. Natives will be a little bit upset about the way they played the kind of 20-minute plus mark.
Yeah.
But even so, you have to call out. You see when the comp works, and you see where it falls off the cliff.
I 100% agree with you, both of you, but when I see the idea of if you have educated eyes and you look into the game and you're like, yeah, this LeBlanc is popping off, this composition might work off, and then you're like, but they're not falling behind that much. RGM are always behind. It's a close shadow. So there's always a way when the team is that crazy. We saw FlyQuest. We know there's always a way. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Now, we have only about 4 minutes. We need to talk about Fearless Draft and the way things are going to evolve from now on. And we talked about blue side, red side. The idea that the red side will gain some value as we move along in the cities. And teams will start resolving to that one to make sure they can pick 2 picks out of a sudden. Actually deal with the first pick on the blue side. But somehow, Natives lost the first game. And they are the ones picking the blue side. I need info, I need explanations, I need help.
Okay.
No help found. Okay.
Okay, no, I'll start. So I think the thing
I'm
with this,
kidding.
we were still early enough into Fearless, and those first picks are still very valuable. And you aren't so hamstrung by the champs you've given up. You can't play. And I think actually with the way this team plays, they I think are going to want to prioritize probably getting their mid jungle some good stuff, or something safe for MKR, because actually this was one of the better showings we've seen from the player. They've not had an easy road through this tournament entirely. And the Ashe did look, at least in terms of the arrow hit rate, pretty good. Questions about damage, farm rates, and all those other things can be put aside for now. That's not so relevant. So there is something about Blue Side saying, this is a way of guaranteeing we get our player the champion they want. And the thing is then, we do have to track what they do first pick, and do they deliver on it? Because that first pick from the first game was the Ashe. And I think on the whole, MKR delivered to a point there. And you can see the precision there. But they need to get that again. And I think perhaps this will get harder to do as drafts go on and red side becomes more valuable.
Bloxon, I need your intake as well, because I agree. I want to know more. You're shocked, I know.
I'm really surprised. I completely understand everything you're saying initially, but I'm still surprised by this decision right here.
The blue side, yeah.
The first pick didn't feel that impactful. Taking the Ashe that early on didn't feel like this big, massive, oh my god, this pick is popping off, it's crazy. And I think that leaving it to be able to be picked up at some later point potentially in your series would have been fine too. There is a potential risk that it could have been taken away in this first game, but it's not really been Lingard's particular bread and butter at the moment, so you're not picking it up early on to take it away in this first game, and then because of the way that Fearless works, obviously that's no longer an issue that you're worrying about. I think it is a little bit crazy. I wonder if potentially you want to try to switch things up and take a top laner early on, because Raider got 5 bans, right? All of the bans went towards Raider. Obviously now you cannot pick yourself up the Gnar either. Maybe you want to try to step away from trying to ban out everything from Raider and just take yourself a top laner early, try to bait Raider into picking something up himself early on, and regain some of those bans to try to spread it around the rest of the map, because Raider looked good in this game, but wasn't the be-all and end-all of this team.
No,
there were a
wasn't the
lot
main
of
focal
other
point.
problems. Yeah, it was Fierce that felt like the real pop-off performer. Schofield also had a great
Lingard
performance.
as well was doing a lot on the
Yeah.
way. You know, exactly.
all
The
great.
Gnar was secondary to the game state. I can agree with that. I might argue for another course of action, because I think you're right. You could do that, and there's a world where that's what happens.
Yeah.
The other thing you could do is do another 5 bans, and then pick a champion on blue side, and then force the side of. I can do this.
RGM.
Raider, there we go, yeah.
Okay,
there we
Raider.
go. The player I've been chatting about all day,
Okay.
to have to counterpick with 5 bans plus a 6th picked, and you've already played a champion, that's like 7 bans, right?
Riddle
so
me this,
that can get very
initialize.
tricky. So you could still
Why, instead of just going for the Ashe because you can't do it anymore, the Syndra was available. Why not pick a Syndra? That should be a valuable blue side pick, because it was left open.
Yeah,
If
you
this
could.
One could be this
could do
one.
that.
This or Yone if it goes through. Oh,
It does not.
So
Yeah,
Syndra maybe.
Syndra, Aurora, you've got a few of those champions. You go, these have been really strong right now. I think the Skarner
Aurora
Yone
Cup?
are understandable, Bams. Aurora in the Aurora Cup is Aurora squared. Could be happening. Aurora reception. Bunny girls abound wherever you care to look, apparently. But again, they've changed the bans already slightly by leaving the Camille open, but getting rid of Lingard's Kai'Sa. Because again, one of the criticisms we did have about Lingard in the regular season of NLC was, actually, this guy looks way less good on standard AD carries. And he was defaulting to things like the Hui, the Ziggs, taken away, and then Kai'Sa was kind of his AD carry of choice. And even then, let's be real, Kai'Sa plays a little bit more like an artillery mage, depending on the build anyway. So worth keeping that in mind. And they banned that one, can't pick the way. There's the Ziggs. It might now allow our GM to go towards a Syndra though and ensure that Lingard still has one of those primary options.
Okay, Syndra is still available. No one is taking a peek at that one as Vi is going to be locked in. So might as well. Well, you could actually think about the Vi Ahri combo, but apparently they want to focus on that AD carry. Top planers, we still have a few, but obviously if you're going for the red side, might as well protect Raider. You know he's good. And the champion pool is just being pinched. Not pinched, it's just getting attacked, mauled. So might as well give him time for that one. Ezreal could be the pick, and at least you have a flex pick. Ooh, Simpi.
Yeah, I get why you're hovering towards that Ezreal. It's pretty tricky to find an ADC, a traditional ADC that works well into the Ziggs. You get poked out very easily, and you don't want to give a Ziggs the situation where he could just start mauling towers, take that tower bot lane, take that tower top lane, move him into the mid lane, all of those plates. That's the way that you can really pop off as MKR right here on the Ziggs. They don't go for it, though.
Worth pointing out as well as a point of order. This is the NLC, where our mid laners really loved mid Ezreal. Fierce was a mid Ezreal player as well, so it very much was another one of those flexes. So it's one of
You
the
never
times you
know
have
where
to go.
champions are going for
The
them.
Ezreal could well end up being a mid laner because NLC things, but instead they'll get Archfiend as his Aatrox is one of his most played champions. It's a blind pickable-ish, you know, you're not going to the Gnar. I wonder now though whether we see RGM lock in a top laner they feel happy enough to blind into that, or whether they're still happy to say we want to see what else they ban. The Fiora is something we've seen into the Aatrox before.
Yeah.
It is a Raider special. He's got something like a 55 to 60% win rate on the champion, despite obviously Fiora being a very volatile pick. You add in that Vi obviously on top of it, and it means that if you misplay a side lane right now as Archfiend, you could end up in a very scary 1v2. Very honest.
First round is completed. The challenge has been lifted, and now Raider is a little bit more. Okay, I can finally breathe. I have a champion. I have a pull, actually. They can't take another one. Ahri is removed. You see the Vi, you have to take it away. So obviously they need another option for Fierce, as Viego is now the target for the hybrid. You don't want to let him play with the stable junglers. What can you bring if you have the Vi already locked in? The Volibear is out of the question. What can you bring for hybrid? He has a few. Like even Jarvan can come in.
Wukong might be an option. Xin Zhao might be an option. You can
That's a
roll
good
with
one.
the Vi quite early there. Sejuani's probably not awful. You can potentially help deal with people over diving there quite well with it. They're banning the Viego themselves because Hybrid is a real enjoyer of that. That makes a lot of sense. Interesting they're banning the Yasuo there as well, because I suspect that's with the thought of things like the Diana being around as well. We have seen a little bit of that haunting these teams over the last couple of weeks. So I can understand saying, look, we're just going to get rid of this potential part of the combo. If you want to do the Diana, it won't be with the Yasuo.
Silas as well, so it's locked in. We have the bans already shown up. What do you take for RGM? Well, you're back. Welcome back. Nocturne.
Don't know what happened there.
You're just
They banned
teasing away.
Bloxer. That was the last ban. Bloxer got banned. There you go.
Well, this is Fearless. He can't show up anymore.
So, you're
gone.
up. Sorry, it was
I'm
one
sorry,
game.
man.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
it.
go. You gotta go. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey! Talking
Oh,
about an
that's
interesting
locked.
one.
Okay, so that is strictly a flex. Fierce could definitely play at mid. Caitlyn's up and available if they want to go for the Kate Lux lane. Normally, it's interesting you lock this now, but they will just
What
get
do you
rid of
do
that
with
one
Leona, though?
early. Oh, that's true. You're
That
so
was
right.
confusing.
What was I was like, I just blanked. You're so right. Yeah, Leona is likely there. It could be a Lingard special. We know he's an AP mage player, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Probably going one of Lingard and Fierce's locations. Oh, go on. They know who they're talking to. This.
I see you,
Do it.
but
Why not?
you don't know who you're playing against. That's the problem. That's
Oh, it's gonna be
he's
Fiora.
teasing me. Naughty.
No, it's not. Got the Aatrox mid, Pantheon top. Let's go. No.
But thank you
Okay.
for the highlight thing.
Oh, okay, Aurora's a bit more like it. There we go. So
Oh,
this
not
obviously
on the
champion
Auto
that
Cup?
is
Oh boy.
very, very strong. We didn't get to see a lot of it in the regular season before some of the bans came on through because there were some bugs that needed to be worked out. But basically, the moment you get things like Malignance, your ability to throw the ult out at any given moment and hit absolutely everybody on the enemy team and lock them all in place can be really, really miserable. You can do that into a Ziggs bomb and people cry quite a lot from the side of RGM if they're not careful.
You can't run away from the Aatrox. Shinzo
They've
is in your
locked that?
face. It's a tough one.
Okay.
It's a locked in. It's a locked
Okay.
in.
It'll be mid lane,
Okay,
Cogmore,
yeah.
Mrs. Fierce. They'll be going for the poke Cogmore mid that he occasionally
I
likes
love
to do.
this.
Will this be an AP version?
That's my question. You won't know. You don't know.
I think you need it to
It
be.
should be.
Otherwise, you are so heavily AD focused. Like you can't leave that there.
You would need Schofield to get very fed and or Raider
Yeah.
to be involved in team fights, and Fiora is better in team fights than she once was, but she is not a team fighting champion by and large. And on the
You don't
other
want to
side,
lock
natives.
yourself into having to have her there. That doesn't. Help.
Yeah, exactly. Look, okay, in some ways, and this is not entirely true. Now, I've seen the comps. This is not exactly an inverse of last game, but it's a lot more pick focus from RGM. The Vi and the Leona hit someone, the artillery pieces of the Cogmore and the Lux hit whoever is hit by the CC of Blood.
Yeah.
That's the plan. You've got the Fiora as a split push win condition. You play 1-4 with the potential Leona and Vi roaming to support that if you need it. The other side for natives, they've got themselves the team fight comp. They've got themselves the Wombo combo. And I'd argue they've got an easier comp to play, especially around objectives.
So what is your takeaway from both of you? I want to know what's going to happen on game 2. Expectations towards the early game, because it's so important. Blocks it.
I definitely prefer what natives have here. I think that's a much better composition for them overall, and I think RGM, they've got a ton resting on that early game. They really need this Vi to pop off. They need it to get a couple of kills early, otherwise I think Vi can suffer in a lot of ways from the same issue that the Volibear does, where you are locked out of the game if you get caught on that first item hurdle. At the same time though, if you do manage to pop off with your Vi, with your Fiora, you've got some great teamfight follow up, and you've got some brilliant split push that you can really get on top of. So I think that if Regen can get the early game going, they're going to be in a great spot. Natives though, I think their team fight's way nicer, and it's a much easier to execute composition. I like it.
I think the other thing is obviously now you're looking at Regen and you're going, okay, you've got Cogmore. Scales notoriously very well. Lux as well with a few items. The ult hits on it like a no second cooldown the moment you get the resets going. Fiora, notoriously one of the hardest scaling champions in the game. If you can get to those items and you're not miles behind, you've still got that win condition later. I just look at the ease of access ease of execution. That's the word I'm looking for the side of natives, and even access as well. You've got your Alistair, your Aurora. It's a lot easier to play those objective fights. They've kind of taken some of the learnings of last game and say, look, we're losing around objective fights. Take a chill pill. Let's play for those fights. It'll be easier there, and that could still prove tricky for Regen, who have got a little bit more pick themselves.
So at the end of the day, who do you think is going to take this game 2? I just want predictions. Just putting you on the spot. Don't worry.
It's still going to be RGM, because then no one on the NLC knows how to play into those champions.
Bloxer?
If they're going to lose any of them, I think it's going to be this one. So I'll take a little bit of a flyer right here on natives, but it's a flyer.
It's a flyer, so let's see what happens inside of the rift as we toss it to the casters. We have Aurora on the Aurora Cup. How do you say it, Solari?
Actually, very easily. You said you have an Aurora on the Aurora Cup.
Oh my word.
Don't see the problem there.
Oh god. Right, let's try and break down these comps as best
Yeah.
as we can. A lot of range for RGM.
A lot of range.
lot of range for RGM coming forwards now. I don't entirely dislike it. I do think it is going to be a lot harder to pull off. So you're going to have to put, a lot of work into it. You were talking about how the ability of the Aurora could shut down and make this game just impossible for RGM to play.
Yeah. We're basically discussing it that ideally for RGM, there should be enough range from pretty much everybody to stay away from Aurora. But if they are not careful about their positioning in the fights, for example on the river, that's really easy for Aurora to find a good angle. And if she locks them down in her ultimate, they're pretty much done. They're not getting out of it.
I totally agree. My issue with Diverse in last game, and they talked about this briefly when we came back from the break, was there were multiple times where Diverse would jump on either Fierce or Lingard or Schofield, and they would be left with like 200 HP, like on a sliver. Now, a lot of that came down to when you're playing LeBlanc, you kind of want to be finding those flank angles that you can then catch someone out. What we actually ended up seeing a lot of the time was Diverse was having to use double dash just to close the gap and then find the burst damage with QE and then like an auto and Storm Surge. So they were very rarely using their ult as an offensive tool, merely just a gap closing tool. Now, my reason I'm bringing this up now is I didn't see Diverse really find the angles all that much in that last game. If he can find the angles on this Aurora. This game, I genuinely do think will be impossible for Fierce and Lingard to play. So I want to see Diverse get himself situated in positions where he can find flanks before the fights and then enable his team to take off from there. Because I think if he can set them up, the follow-up from this Natives comp will be very, very rough for our GM.
If he can set them up without getting killed on the approach, because that is another thing that I like for RGM. Again, comp is really hard to execute, but if they execute their things properly, they have Vi plus Fiora, and on top of that, especially for Vi's ultimate, they have an excellent follow-up with a lot of control on their side from pretty much everybody on the team. So if somebody gets caught by any ability from RGM on NTZ's side, they are not getting out of that either.
I expect this to actually be probably a relatively chill start to the game. I think it's going to be a relatively slow game. I mean, you've got a Kog'Maw who, to be fair, is actually doing a really good job of bullying Diverse out here with the E-poke and the Meteor. Might have to hold that fort, though, because they're saying something, and then Highbrush did come in the area, but Fierce saw him on the ward, is able to move away.
Very good ward.
But yeah, I think when you got a Lux, Ziggs, and Kog'Maw, like kind of just AP artillery, a lot of it in this game, these guys are just going to want to chill and catch waves for a while. Like, MKR, Ziggs doesn't really do too much until he hits that Luden's Companion. The fact he's into a Lux probably makes this lane a lot more chill than what you're used to seeing as Ziggs. Normally you need the Lost Chap to have the mana to continue the shove, and then Luden's Companion really buffs that shove on top of that. Yeah, it's very much down to how Schofield's going to play this early game, as he does spot out Highbrush. Raider also getting himself in a little bit of danger here. They're just going to force them out of the jungle. Looks like Schofield's going to take a back off, and are they doing the old wraparound?
I'm not sure who's in danger here, though.
I think it's Highbrush, to be honest. Schofield gets the passive. Oh, no, Leo! He found the read. He comes in. Highbrush is low. First blood goes over to the Vi. Leo now taking a whole heap of damage from Raider. Diverse is coming in, though. Raider hops the wall with a Q. It's going to get a bit of move speed and a heal off if he can hit that mark. But no, he can't. Archfiend finds the kill. The flash was questionable there. And no way Schofield gets away with it. That
gets the first blood and gets out of there.
That is actually crazy. And this is what the Death said they wanted to see. They wanted to see Vi get some kills early. Lovely little start off the back of that.
It's a kill for Vi. It's an assist for Fiora as well. However, it's a kill on the other side on Aatrox, which makes things on the top lane a little bit more interesting, because Aatrox has a window when he's stronger than Fiora, but that window comes pretty much in like a level from now, if I recall correctly. So right now, Archfiend has a possibility to make things a little bit funnier, but first he needs to recall to get an item, because it's a Fiora that has come back from the death with a shin to the lane.
Yeah. Is that looking to keep the pressure up in that lane, though. Still down in farm after everything's been said and done as Fierce. Does he see the rabbit? No, he doesn't.
No.
So he's just trying to stop the recall. Now, Highbrush is in the area. Fierce playing very far up. Does have the flash. Highbrush doesn't, so I think he feels pretty comfortable off the back of that one as the dragon spawns up. You can see that Schofield in the area. Very, very quick at soloing objectives on this fight, whether that be the dragon or the grubs. You have so much just damage loaded in, like, base into that kit. So Schofield could look for a little something here.
He doesn't even need to solo it, to be fair, because there is so much prio for his bot lane. They can rotate easily, help him out a little bit, and then go back without losing anything.
Yeah, the question is are they going to wrap around to the grubs in time? I mean, you can see that Highbrush is on the bottom side of the map, so he's not setting up immediately. RGM don't have any vision of the area, though. That's probably their biggest concern right now. Highbrush may just be looking for a play here on the bot side instead.
The flashes are available for both of the bot lanes for RGM, but they really don't want to be giving them up, especially for Lux, because that's literally her only way of getting out of a tricky situation. But they take the Drake, and in theory they should be rotating immediately to the grubs, because Fiora is still keeping control of the top lane. Yeah, they should, and I think they're doing it.
Well, they also saw Highbrush in the area, so they're going to know. I think it's going to be a quick pop as close to 6 as possible, if not hit 6 for Schofield as he does the chicken. And then he's going to move over. Raider has teleport, so he'll be able to rejoin nice and quick. Diverse. Now that 6 has been hit onto Fierce, there's a lot of ranged poke that can come out. Although Fierce, no mana, no teleport. Maybe a little bit harder. Schofield, I believe Highbrush saw him go into that bush, actually.
Well, not really. No, we're fine. Except
Whaley.
if Alistair has any ideas, but it's so tense here. But it's like everybody's having ideas, but nobody's actually executing them. The question is who's going to get the grubbies in the end, because Raider is right now onto the turret, and it looks like NTZ have found their angle onto them.
Honestly, I think this is the right play by IGM. They got that dragon early. They're very happy with that. They had spending a lot of mana and health in lanes, so rotating to get the grubs just to kind of say we can get all the objectives probably could have ended badly for them. I like that Simpy rolled over just to make sure if anything went down he was in the area, knowing that the Alistair was going to move as well. So yeah, I respect the play there from the side of RGM. They're still, you know, up a minor amount of gold, 200 gold, so nothing really that major, but they're still kind of got the tempo in their favor, and you can see this is going great for them off the back of the tempo, because now that the grubs are done, Highbrush is going to start to do his jungle. His red side's getting cleared out by Schofield as we speak, so Schofield's going to slowly try and build up some bigger leads here. Now the 6 has been hit. I mean, Leo's only level 4. There is a lot of burst potential here with the Vi and the Lux.
Could have had something funny happening there, or maybe on the mid lane, like somewhere, because when your Vi hits level 6, you want to be using that ultimate, you want to be accelerating your lanes. IGM not exactly want to be, or not, rather, they don't need to be accelerated too much early in the game, because they wait, this is a waiting game for them, they scale up rather nicely. But then the question of Vi comes in. Vi really wants to set things going as early as possible, so I would love to see Schofield around the lanes helping them out.
Solari, I think we're in for a pretty long game. We got so much wave clear in this game on both sides. It's going to have to be one hell of a fight.
Are you in a hurry?
No, luckily.
Good.
A little hungry, but I'll live.
Aww.
Highbridge able to answer out and take the camps that were denied earlier. Because Schofield going to be doing their blue side. Question is Highbridge going to stick around and get the chickens as well? The pings went down, so I think they know that that's happening.
Are they gonna punish him though? Because they could. They have Fuse around. Problem is Alistair is around as well. So
yeah, I don't think they can. It's not worth punishing for chickens.
Yeah. Says the Hungry Man, by the way.
Oh, I mean, they're thinking about it. Simpy's in the area as well. Nah, just loses the camp. So ultimately, the gain that they got earlier from their jungle has been equalized as both of them on the same farm. Ultimate burnt here by Archfiend. Got the World Ender on. Read it. Just going to heal up a little bit from that grasp. Continues to poke out onto Archfiend. I think he's going for the full bait. Highbridge is in the area, though. Raider needs to be very careful. Bows out. Just a little bit too late. What was Raider doing? I don't know if that was a mistake on his behalf or the other, but Schofield now fighting Highbridge. Does have his Leona coming in, but double kill for Highbridge. What happened? That just went so wrong.
We beat a little bit more than we could chew there, or to be honest, we just beat and we couldn't chew that at all. Good question what exactly Raider was trying to do there. With the ultimate propped in, probably...
Alright, if Simply dies here as well, then, like...
No, come on, we're not going that far this time.
Yeah, I was about to say, that would have been genuinely get in the clown car.
No, we just gave away 2 kills. We are silly goofy, but not too goofy.
I'm interested. I assume Fierce... Does he go Malignance or does he go Ludens? I have no idea what AP Cogmore builds.
I have no idea what Cog builds, yeah.
We'll find out.
Malignance would be so fun play, because I assume RGM would want to play around their range and around the range of Cogmore in particular, so they would love to have Malignance on him to improve his ultimate output.
Yeah, I do worry though if you go Malignance, you just are going to have no mana.
True.
No, it's Ludens. Okay, it's Ludens.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think the problem with Malignance is you'd need a tier as well just to make up for, like...
Yeah. For the mana loss, yeah.
Oh, just everyone gets stunned and nothing happens.
They're baiting us. Not even each other, but they're baiting us. They're throwing in their abilities and their ultimates, and then absolutely nothing happens. But something should happen right now, because we have the second Drake of the game up and running, and the grubs have just spawned, so somebody needs to pull the trigger and do something.
I mean, you've got the Ludens on your luck, so this is a good time to take that fight. Fierce puts the damage down, and the final spark from Lingard secures the kill. Highbridge falls, and that should just be the dragon over to the side of RGM. MKR can do a little bit of poking with the bombs, or cupcakes in this skin, over the wall. onto Schofield. Schofield's actually getting heavily burst out as Diverse gets caught in the ultimate, and Fierce has to flash away. I think he's done so. Down he goes. A complete misplay in the mid lane while the dragon's going on, and Simpy may pay with his life as well. The stun is big. Leo Lucago coming in, and now they're looking for the Q from the Vi. I think it's just going to be a step away. I think that was greedy by Fierce to take a fight there.
Absolutely, he shouldn't have done anything of that sort on the mid lane while the dragon was being taken by his teammates just above him. Oh, Raider. Oh.
Gets out of the wind, becomes lightning, so it's going to be okay. Oh no, Leo's in the area. Raider, you greedy piggy. You're going to go down for that one. There's the flash. Stop queuing forwards, you psycho.
Don't go. Can you go back?
This guy only has a W key. It's just forwards. Oh my word.
By the way, while this is still happening on the top lane, there was a solo kill apparently for the Lux on the bot lane onto Ziggs. Uh-huh.
I mean, Lux got the dam. Lux early struggles with wave clear, but once you got this Ludens, you do just one-shot the waves, and you one-shot people. Genuinely, if you hit a QER, it's actually good night.
If you hit auto attacks in between, yes, you deal a lot of damage.
You don't even need to auto. It's actually crazy how much damage she does at level 6 with just like 3 spells. And I'm assuming this is going to be a Storm Surge as well, so you get that like added extra boomer burst on it.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. That's so fun. As long as that Lux lives in the fight, that's gonna be so fun for our GM. And then the ultimate is in a such low cooldown, you can literally have it twice in the team fight.
Right, they're trying to shove the wave in. Simpy goes for the flash over the wall, hits the Zenith Blade, hits the stun. There's the lockdown, and boom! Simpy gets the kill.
Good job. So much control on this team. Somebody hits any ability onto the enemy that slows them down and shuts them down, and that's it. They're done.
That's what you do on the Lux. Your final spark the wave, but you're still going to die for it. Mega Inferno Bombs shut down for MKR. Leo is okay.
He just tanked a little bit for the team. Maybe the last tower shot was a little bit unnecessary, but hey, it's fine. They get the kill, they get out. They just give some third plays on the top lane, some additional gold to Fiora, which is not good news to be fair, but Fiora is not too ahead to be worried about her just yet.
And that's how you get ahead. I do think Lingard messed up a little bit there. He knew the play was going on the top side, and as soon as no one else answered, he probably should have backed up and just played with Final Spark at range to clear the wave.
I mean, Bro is under the turret. Bro is just playing safe.
They're going to catch them off here with the parry for the slow. Simpy goes in for the Zenith Blade, and MKR, no more cupcakes for you. Down you go. As we cut over to Lingard having a stroll towards the mid lane. They do fire back on the play.
Yes. They find an answer. They are still leading in terms of not only kills, but also the gold on the map and the objectives, and honestly, pretty much everything, especially if they continue keeping Fiora on the side lanes and trying to get the side lane turrets as quickly as possible.
Just having a look at the builds. Again, we've got the Sundered Sky coming in. I might have to hold that, though, because Fierce is taking a fight versus Archfiend in melee as a Cogmore. It doesn't end well. Spoiler alert. It's going to be able to use his passive to clear the wave, but yeah, he got caught moving into the top side. Ibraj trying to make his way over to catch this wave. Is able to avoid the poke from Lingard. And Tower will get sieged here on the top side. Both teams have 3 grubs. No teams have taken a tower yet. I don't think anyone's going to be able to answer this top side in time. I mean, Triforce onto the Fiora. I don't know how low that bot tower is. Demolish. Raider, he may just try and commit for the tower. He dies! No way! He got the tower. He got first tower. The teleport comes in from Fierce. Fierce is kind of throwing there a little bit, but he gets a lot of burst off. Teleport also coming in. The passive's on. We're going to see Schofield taking a fight versus Highbridge. He gets hit by the passive and the kill. Lingard's able to secure the kill. Can they find the light binding onto Leo or Archfiend? That's going to be a wide one. They go in for the solar flare. They find the lockdown. The alley passive's popped. He gets the knock up onto 2. They continue to apply pressure. There's the final spark. There's the Q. There's the lockdown. And there are the kills. RGM fire back violently.
And you were absolutely right. That damage output on that Lux is getting ridiculous way too quickly. I love it for GM because, hey, they finally find an answer. They found the answer on the top lane, which is the most important. They still keep control over it, and they secure the Herald on top of that. They lose the turret on the mid lane, though. At least the bot lane turret is fine because Raider has just turned there and he's protecting the turret. But on the mid lane, I would assume that is where RGM would like to release the Herald, because they need to find an answer to the fact that they don't have another turret anymore.
That was very nice there. Again, Fierce kind of a little bit questionable with some of his plays, teleporting onto an Alistair Aatrox under tower. I mean, the ultimate play went in favor of them. They will take this tower in the mid. Simpy's getting engaged onto. Slow comes out from Fierce, but he is going to get immediately blown up. Raider just gets the movement speed and runs away as the Kog'Maw. I mean, you're not playing Kog'Maw if you're not using the passive, I guess.
Well, I mean, some people pick Kog'Maw to be the artillery, you know, and everything. Some people pick him to play around the passive.
If you're playing Kog'Maw around the passive, you are not playing Kog'Maw right. He's not like Sion. Does he even have any scaling on his passive? I swear it's just a useless ability.
I don't think he does.
I genuinely think it is the worst passive in the game.
He should have. But I will not tell you, you know.
Well,
check
I'm gonna
it
look
later.
up. I'm pretty sure you get like ability procs, so like Storm Surge and Luden's proc on it, but I don't know if it has actually any scaling. Let me look it up. Kog'Maw.
Thank you very much. Because nothing is happening to be fair, so you can do it. There is a Drake though that NTZ have gotten for themselves, but we gotta have a siege on the top
Fiora
lane
of a
in the meantime.
Herald and Demolish and 3 grubs.
Nice.
That is gonna go down very, very quickly. Oh, yeah. Oh! Lux Burst, by the way. Lux Burst is absolutely bonk. I told you. Lux gets to a point where her passive doesn't matter. It just straight up does enough damage without using the passive. It's crazy.
Yeah. You don't need to come any closer to the enemy to give a more attack to them. You just throw in the abilities, and that's it. You're done.
Also, little
ridiculous.
Little update on the Kog'Maw.
Yep.
It is based on level. It does true damage based on his level. Up to 650, which to be fair is actually 650, which will proc Ludens and Storm Surge and things like that. It can actually add up to quite a lot of damage, but even so, yeah, it's you're not really wanting to be Fierce. You don't want Fierce to be using his passive. Is the basics of it. You'd rather him playing that artillery at range. Horizon's Focus was the second item for Lingard. I did think it was maybe going to be a Storm Surge, but I mean, the Horizon's Focus, it's an artillery-heavy game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Fierce didn't pick one up. I think he's just going for like a bit more cheap items because he's not having as good a game.
Creep Bloom, I think. It's either one of them is going to go for Creep Bloom and the other one for the Void Staff.
Yeah,
I
he's
would
going
assume.
Creep Bloom, and then Lingard's going Void Staff.
Yeah, but then you need to stay alive in the fight in order to proc the Creep Bloom.
True. Well, I mean, if he joins up with Lingard, no one can kill you because they're going to be dead. Is that Fierce
true.
stepping forward? Simpy, losing a nasty amount of HP to that little bunny rabbit.
By the way, Malignus first on the Rabbit. Slightly different situation, to be fair, compared to Kog'Maw, but yeah, Malignus first. Deals some nasty damage.
Yeah, there's going to be a lockdown. There's the final spark. 2 people dead. Leo going low, but Fierce should be able to pop him, secure himself his first kill of the game. They're going to keep the price up, though. Q comes in. Ultimate lands onto MKR. Can they actually find the follow-up? Light Binding doesn't make the connection, but Schofield is just running MKR down. He just needs to get a little bit more damage. Q charged up. And that should be one dead Ziggs. Down he goes. Really nicely played by RGM, and you can just see the burst potential. There were concerns on the desk, but I think RGM in both games have recognized how their teams play and how their comp is meant to be played, and they are executing on it very, very well. Bar that play top lane. That play top lane was unforgivable, but
Yeah.
I will still find it in my heart to forgive them.
But overall, I agree with you. It feels like RGM understand better not only how their team composition works in both games, but also how NTZ's composition is supposed to be working. They outplay them on all levels. They basically don't just let them play how they would like to. NTZ would like to have a very explosive early game, but they would like to play around their ability to lock down some of the enemies with the Aurora ult, with the Zinja, with the Aatrox, but they can't find any opening because they're getting killed way too quickly by RGM, who are better at picking them because they can do it from much further distance.
Yeah, I really like it from RGM, actually. I find at this level, a lot of teams are not that particularly great at recognizing, like, and executing on team comps that are maybe slightly off meta, but RGM done a fantastic job of reading how to play this comp, and they're executing on it really nicely. Now, teleport coming in. They're going to send Raider packing. He doesn't get hit by the headbutt pole, and that's the teleport from MKR for, I believe, a flash from Schofield. That's a damn good deal.
That's a very good deal. RGM will take it any day. Oh, and they even get a kill on top of that. And maybe another one.
Lux kills happen quick and they happen fast. They're looking for the lockdown on to Schofield, but he is just too damn tanky. The light binding locks up too. Fierce is continuing the fire off. 2-man headbutt pull from Leo as he sacrifices himself for the greater good. But they trade out 2 for 1. Archfiend on the run. Dragon spawning up soon. It's going to be that Cloud Dragon. There's Simpy, maybe looking for diverse here. Lingard about to get that final spark back. Not going to go for it. Archfiend on the run, though. Raider's going to pop the ultimate, and that was not even a grand challenge. That was a just disappointing challenge. He melted.
It wasn't even a challenge at all. There is no way Archfiend could do that, even with the turret on his side. Absolutely nothing. And now, because of that, RGM are having a lot of control over the bot side of the map.
Is too late?
No, he should be...
No, he cancelled!
Why did you cancel
He's dead!
that?
He's dead!
No!
Bro is an expert at using Conqueror passive.
I'm telling you, he's playing around the passive. Maybe he knows
He's
something
playing
we don't.
Conqueror like some people play Scion.
I mean, he deals damage. We have 2 void stuffs.
Hey, man. This guy, he's allowed it, by the way. He carried last game.
Okay, fine. Fair enough, fair enough.
He's allowed a bad game here. That is a cow in a lot of danger. Pops the ultimate early. Simpy finds himself in danger. The solar flare lands. The final spark blows them up before the Xin Zhao can do anything. Double kill for Raider. In comes the ultimate from the Vi. The flash over the wall. Simpy finds the lockdown. It's a good Aurora ultimate to lock them all in place, but Diverse might find himself in danger. He's trying to find an opening, an escape opportunity as he is able to limp away from the fight, but Archfiend may pay the price in turn. Raider putting the damage down as they're looking for that long-range barrage as Fierce enters into the fray and secures another. That should be Baron for RGM.
That's a Baron that nobody is going to be able to contest. And Dizzy can try. They still have 2 up, and their jungler is going to be up pretty much in a couple of seconds. But this Baron should go down very damn quickly for RGM.
I mean, there's nothing they can do.
No.
I mean, it's slightly slower because you don't have a true ADC to kind of like consistently melt it. Lingard even final sparking. I mean, that ultimate is on like a 25-30 second cooldown at the moment. At rank 3. So, yikes.
It's nothing. Yeah. And NTZ don't even get the Drake out of it? Question mark? Because NTZ would like to at least get the Drake. They have the objective bounties. They would like to have a second Drake and to cancel the soul point. But RGM will not let them do it.
I mean, when Fierce isn't dead, he actually does a lot of damage. That was half of Highbrise's health. That was a lot of damage. Death Cap almost finished up on to Lingard, by the way. So he is going to
level 16.
hit like a truck at this point.
Oh, yes.
I think that final spark's hitting for like over 1,000. It does a lot.
Don't ask me about numbers, please. I'm just going to trust you on that.
So again, I actually used to play Lux a long time ago, Lux mid. So I have some understanding of the numbers. It's been a couple of years since I played Lux mid, to be fair.
I played Lux support, and I see Lux support from time to time on the Wolves right now. Thank you, Carrier. And it's such a shame. It's such a waste of a champion, because look at how much damage she's doing when she's allowed to get gold and to build items.
You make this champion a carry, and people they're so used. They don't expect the burst. MKR forced the flash. Lingard is caught inside though, and the shutdown goes to Diverse. There's been a fire back as they actually are able to get 2 kills for the side of natives. Schofield tries to queue away, but he's slowed. He's locked down. Fierce can just watch from the sidelines. Ultimate committed from Schofield as he tries to put a kill together, unable to do so. A little bit of damage comes out from Fierce on the way out, but what a beautiful engage from Diverse, and that was what we were talking about at the beginning of the game. You find that opening, you find that ultimate, and you can make this game unplayable.
Exactly. That's exactly what NTZ were supposed to be doing with this team composition all this time throughout the whole game. But finally, only now they find a good angle. Because the moment that the carries from RGM, who want to be as far away from the enemies as possible, are locked in this ultimate of Aurora, they are not getting out of it anymore. If they try to, they're slowed down, and there is so much damage follow-up from NTZ onto them.
I don't know if that was right, because Diverse got the kill and it said he did 0 damage. So I think that
yeah, that's a little bit
I think that damage breakdown might have been wrong. That might have been a different fight. I don't know.
Maybe.
Dragon still hasn't gone. You're correct on that. It does look like, I think Raider is going to be doing the Dragon right now. So,
Yeah.
Soul? No, it's Soul Point. It's not
Soul
even
Point.
Soul. Wow. It's honestly been up so long. I just assumed they took that it before and we're onto Soul. We're not.
No, we had some funny fights in between. We had a Baron in between, so Dragon didn't really have a chance to happen. But yeah, now Fury's gonna get it rather quickly. Doesn't even need help, to be fair. It's not a soul against RGM. Don't really need to overcommit towards this Drake. Problem is, NTZ can't really find much as an answer to it. They push the top lane a little bit, and they leave the vision. So that's something, but that's the extent of what they can do on the map right now.
Well, as we are kind of moving into the later stages of this game, Deathcap should be finished here for the side of Lingard. And if it does come up and we do see RGM get it, like Schofield, Simpy, and Raider are actually going to really like that soul. Fierce and Lingard don't really get too much. Actually, Fierce uses it quite well because it gives him a lot of escape.
Yeah. He can throw in the ultimate, die, and then he's gonna be a very fast dead boy.
Raider, not going to get caught. I do feel like Raider, man, like you love playing with fire, bro.
Ooh,
He
there we go.
actually goes in and stops the recalls. He has been a menace because right now they're sieging mid. He might die for this though. He does have the
Yeah.
flash. He's able to break away from the Aurora. Sterix pop, flash burn. But ultimately, like, a lot of time was bought for the side of RGM. Now, the issue is MKR has to go down here, which he will, thanks to just that massive burst of damage. But the wave clear from him was getting too much. Wow.
That's
Deathcap
getting out
Lux.
of hand. Yes!
Deathcap Lux. Hey, can the observer hear me? I don't know if you can. If you can you just, like, hover Luxol? I just want to see how much damage it's doing. Just give me a hover over on that
It's
left
almost
there.
off cooldown. Oh my
It's
god.
such a
It's
short one.
back.
725, not including for, you know, Ludens
Oh,
and stuff like that.
1190.
Oh, 1190. Thank you. Gotta put a whole heap of damage in. RGM actually able to flash away. Survived the play, but the wave clear from MKR has really stopped this game from really kind of progressing for RGM right now, and I feel like they're hitting a bit of a wall until the Baron comes up.
Yes. It's actually both MKR and Diverse, pretty much, because they are clearing the waves, both of them, extremely quickly. And they're not
Yeah.
letting RGM fully commit to the siege of anything, because if they overcommit, what happened at the base before is going to happen again. So it means that in how long? I don't know, in 0 seconds apparently, we're gonna see a Baron play from RGM, because they absolutely need this Baron to finish the game.
I think it goes golden at like 45 seconds. So
Yeah.
that'd be your time. You still got over a minute. Or at least over 45 seconds.
No, it's less than a minute, but more than 30 seconds when it's great. No? But it's numbers, I don't know, man.
Remember. I can't remember, man.
I don't know. It's gonna come up eventually,
They're
right?
getting
RGM
set
for
up,
sure,
right?
no.
Like, it's coming
Yeah.
up soon enough that they're going to be setting up for this Baron. Getting control of the area as Lingard just lingering in the distance. At this point, honestly, the lockdown from Simpy or Vi into his ultimate is enough to either kill or force someone out.
Yep.
Teleport coming in here from Fierce is going to join, and they're now going to be able to add the poke. Diverse gets himself caught.
There we
There's the
go!
laser beam. One shot through. Light binding hits onto Hybrid. She tried to flash into Lingard's pocket. Fierce is untouched as well. Lingard and Fierce continue to put damage down, but MKR is able to get one. Raider takes him out on the side. Simply's going low, but the Lux shield will keep him burning. RGM take everybody off the map. They won't need Baron. They can close the game here.
They did everything so right there. So everybody except for the jungler is alive, and frankly, they don't need the jungler right now to just go through the enemy story. 25 seconds on everybody from NTZ's side. They're not getting half to see this game anymore, I'm afraid. RGM did everything so good. It's a 16 to 28 game, goddammit, and a 10k gold lead for RGM. And just one more game for them to win this whole series.
This RGM team are kind of cracked.
Yeah!
This is sick. Like, I haven't seen a Lux carry game. I don't think ever. I don't think I've ever casted a Lux carrying a game, like outside
Yeah.
of support. But like, damn, that was a team where, you know, there was a little bit of a sway in confidence on RGM, but they recognized the strengths of that team. They played into them very well, and they found the burst. They found the damage, and like, yeah, that was a really, really good game coming in from them. I like you've moved your Lux statue. That's very cute.
Yeah. I like Lux. I love Lux as a champion. It's just such a shame to see her being diverted to a support role over and over because her gold income is so limited there that she cannot fully shine like she can when she's in a carry position. And plus we have a player who excels at playing those AP champions on these IDC roles, so it's a perfect combination.
Well, they've got to do one more time if RGM want to 3-0 this series. It is really do or die now for the side of Natives. Their backs are to the wall. If they lose this one, they will be losing this series. We're going to throw ourselves to a quick break, and we're back with our next game of the series. See you in a moment.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
Shows up in the scoreboard. It's getting troublesome. Oh, I'm getting a goal difference over time graphic, which doesn't look that
Ooh, the
good.
graph.
RGM looked menacing during this one. We have to go step by step. Let's not just be hasty. The idea, that damage graph is even worse. When we look into the beginning of the game, it was so pivotal, the invade we had. I think we have to highlight it. By the end of the game, everybody should have forgotten it because so many things happened, especially Lux things. Also, Solari, please hide that figure. You can't show that figure after what we've seen. It's troublesome. But also, how important and pivotal was that level 1? Initialize, I know you really, really love that one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's this level. So I know what you mean by level 1. So the level 3 is the invade on the Quad.
Yeah,
It happens really early. Raider gets on his Fury. It's a champion he has been known to pull out and throw the gauntlet down on to pretty decent success over the years. And he drafts it into the Aatrox. It's a blind pick by Archfiend, and they get shoved in. And immediately gets stuck under tower, and he gets through into the enemy jungle, where, surprise, surprise, Vi has double buffs and has decided, I'm going to fight a Xin Zhao. And that normally is not great. However, because the Fiora can turn up, and they get there early, they can start this play. The thing is, it's kind of red. You see the fact that natives recall the Alistair. The Alistair is there. And in a 2v3... they still pick up first blood and only lose 1 on the way out. The Alistair finds the Vi recalling and doesn't quite stop her, and they get away with this ridiculous level 1 that puts the Xin Zhao way behind tempo. Gives a load of free time to various lanes, like the Lux actually gets to be in a 2v1 lane for a bit and doesn't have to worry about getting shoved in quite as freely by the Ziggs, and all those kinds of things. And it is RGM playing again in a very aggressive, very we are down to skirmish style. And it working out a lot better than it did game 1. There were still some knife's edges they were riding. That invade, as we said, was a 2v3. It was quite bold. They get away with it. They get working with it. And they start getting things like that Lux becoming absolutely terrifying. The Fiora, with enough gold and all the turret plates and some grubs to her name, consistently draws 3 people to the top lane. Going 1-for-1, taking a lot of resources to try and take the Fiora out of the game. And actually, despite what should have been a significantly easier game in terms of execution from the side of natives compared to at least their game 1, they just weren't given the time. They were run around the map by this incredibly aggressive Vi, a Fiora that was dashing forward at any given opportunity despite it being a 1v3. And that's without talking about the double artillery pieces of this Cosmo and Lux.
That was scary, but Bloxer, we were talking about it. Schofield got a lot of kills at the beginning of the game, and we were wondering, Vi getting the kills, I mean, you gotta do something with them. And you said, I think it was mid-game, you said, she's spreading the love. She's giving back to community. And that was so important for RGM, right?
It really was. It felt like in the previous game, the fact that Diverse got a ton of kills was awesome, and usually you want a ton of kills onto your main carry, but Diverse was not spreading the love. LeBlanc wasn't giving kills to the rest of the squad. It wasn't, hey, I'm now going to go bot lane, get a ton of kills bot lane, and now, hey, maybe the bot lane don't get the kills, but they get a tower plate, they get something like that. You go top lane, same
free
sort of
lane,
thing.
yeah.
It wasn't happening. That wasn't roaming. It was in the skirmishes, around objectives a little bit, and mainly just sort of picking up kills in her own lane. That's not the way that you need to play that kind of champion, unfortunately. Whereas in this game, we got to see it brilliantly. Yes, sure, Schofield is picking up the majority of these kills, and you want them on the rest of the carries, but Schofield was then going into all of the rest of the lanes, and like you were saying, Initializer, buying some free time bot lane to be able to actually sit and farm up and get your Lux in a good spot, allowing mid lane Cogmore to be able to breathe a little bit and then find some kills, and helping to not allow deaths to constantly go over top lane. It wasn't like Raider was constantly getting ganked and constantly dying. There were a couple of deaths, but the pressure drawn was more than worth it for what was happening, so it was a really impressive game from Schofield, from the way that it was executed. And I think the Vi is one of the hardest junglers to execute playstyle wise, because you can get so trapped in either not doing anything early game and then you just fall off, or having a ton of kills on yourself and still not being able to do anything because you're never going to do it quite enough.
You do a lot of Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
There is a lot of Leroy. Exactly, you know, that ability to have a compressor! Oh no, I did not want to do that. That was not where I wanted to be. And again, that's partly what makes Vi so strong. Like, her strength's very defined, right? Your ability to dive very deep on specific targets and isolate them out is very, very potent, especially if you're with a team that can coordinate with that. If you can manage your flash well as well, you aren't so reliant on your R to be strong. So there's ways around that can be a big deal. But I think then the other side of it becomes like, the moment the Vi gets to step on forward and be that aggressive, and the fact that you do have very long-range follow-up. The Lux are from a screen away. The Cogmore, again, is not exactly a short-range champion, especially when they have built towards that AP variant. The Vi was always in range of someone coming to assist. When we saw things like Zac Hui or Vi Hui in the past, that ability for Hui to follow up from a long way away follows a similar archetype there. Then you add in the fact that Fiora is another point of pressure, and the fact is, when realistically did natives ever get to group as 5 on their own terms?
In their base. In their base.
Yeah,
That's
when
the
they
thing, yeah.
pushed too far forward.
Then you're a fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
And again, and that was definitely the weakness that RGM ran into, right? Was trying to end the game, get through the base, that bit where you did have to group up, did prove a little bit tricky.
Well, with this in mind, it means it's 2-0. The 3-0 is a possibility. Your beard might be saved by the end of the day, just letting you know, Initialize, which is concerning, but it's a reality nonetheless. It's time for natives to step up, but the problem is, can they do it? Because I think they'll run out of continues before Lingard will run out of champions to bring into the mid lane, to the bot lane, and make things confusing. I think even with the fearless mode, they're saving the champions that are meta
Still
for
no
the last
Syndra.
moment. Yeah,
We
Syndra
haven't
has
seen
been
a Syndra.
open. Nobody
Not
picked
just
it.
not just banned. Nobody's
Yeah.
touching it. It's like they're all saving it. Well, Nators, if you've been saving it, now is the time to pull it out. You are one game away from elimination. I don't even know necessarily that Reggem need to touch it. I think you've still got other APCs available to you, but that feels like the big one, where it's like, the fact we haven't touched Syndra yet is crazy to me.
You kind of have
think-
to bring it right now, because natives, and I'm going to let you talk about this one, Initialize, with additional information. Natives this time picked the red side. That's specifically why we joined the desk without screaming. So it's natives with the red side right now.
Yeah, and that is potentially a big deal. It changes with draft priorities. And again, we are a little later on into the series where you do end up with a few more of those priority picks being less available, which does kind of reduce the potency of those blue 1 picks in terms of what's going on. That said, I think the thing with the Syndra is we have seen Syndra's upsides. They're very, very obvious. Huge single target burst in particular. Very hard scaling. You can follow up from a long way away, but you are still very immobile. If you use your E, your out of escape tools, you don't side lane that well. And it's been a conversation I've had with a few analysts, Nymera, and a few other people, that why have we not seeing it at Worlds very often? It felt like with all the changes, we should be seeing more of it, especially now a lot of those AD carries are gone, which used to bully Syndra before she could kind of do a lot, especially because obviously the changes to Syndra a while ago when she started doing less with her Qs and took a little while to scale, meant that people could bully her when cooldowns were kind of being waited on. And the answer still kind of is that yes, she's good in isolated 1v1s. She's still not that easy to execute the side lane, and she is still relatively immobile. So she doesn't always fit into every draft. That said, Regen have multiple ways to use a Syndra. It doesn't have to just go mid lane. It can go bot lane. Lingard, of all people, is arguably a better mage player than he is an AD carry player. So, like, you've got this position where if any team was going to be able to make it work, I think this is it. And I do think we've seen it be successful. I can also see why in some ways, perhaps teams have been a little leery of going for it when we have seen people very willing to lock things like your Vice and your Luxus and say, well, whoever the Syndra gets hit by this dies.
So with this in mind, we are 1 minute away from champion select. This is do or die for natives, and this could be the first on playoffs where the team who's not from Division 1 that will knock out a well-known Division 1 team. We were talking about this previously, Blockster, the idea that we have so many interesting teams and somehow a few of them are now part of Division 1. And you talked about it on pre-show as well. You spread the love for the league. You kind of brought in a sellout as well. So this could be a big opportunity for RGM, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of these
They need
players
to do
are
it.
really excited for that, right?
I was just waiting for It's
I know, Blocks, I ran into it, sorry.
I wanted to give you time, Blocks, to talk about it.
I'm sorry, Blocks, go!
Okay, it's okay. No, I'm so excited. I think this is the joy of the Prime, right? Where you actually manage to get teams who we don't see that often, we don't get to talk about very often, unless you are specifically a lover of Swedish League of Legends, which obviously you should be a lover of Swedish League of Legends. What are you doing if you're not? But you probably don't see this team very often unless you are in a very specific community of people. And now we're getting to see this team potentially take out Natives, who I think is one of the most well-known storied NLC teams that we have. Sure, they haven't been popping off in quite the same way recently, but they have been around for a really long time. They're so well-known, and they're on the precipice of being knocked out. It's just so exciting.
Well, champions sell out to what it could be, a clean sweep or the return of natives. It's do or die for them. RGM just needs to lock one more. Talking about locking, let's talk about the bans. Yone being removed, Skarner as well, initialized with the swag, and Xante following it up. Syndra, is it pickable? And if you let it open, blue side might pick it up first, and you have no idea where that is going. It could actually be a Simpy pick. We don't know. It's Simpy. He's also
Support
weird.
Syndra. Just run into the jungle and steal camps with your W.
Yes.
That's all you're doing.
Why not?
actually stealing them. Yeah, like kidnapping. Yeah. There you go, Viego as well. Darius has been the stable one. Ryder being removed and pinched, but he doesn't care. He's just shrugging his shoulders, saying, "Ha! Another day in the office."
I think as well that this is going to be a question we have to ask, guys. Like, okay, Archfiend, you have not. You've kind of had a couple games now. The Aatrox had some good team fights, but the laning was not fun. It was not fun from the Aatrox, and you hit this point where the Fiora just became a real problem. And what does Archfiend have in the wheelhouse to manage some of those options? The response on the side from RGM is saying, look, we've lost the Leona, we've lost the Rel, let's pick up the Nautilus. It's also worth saying, remember, that the Alistair and the Leona have been picked on the other side already, so Rel's the only one remaining in terms of those engage options. So it does potentially force that early, or you're not going to be able to pick up and engage support very freely.
Kai'Sa has been banned constantly, and natives have the opportunity to pick the Rel and the Kai'Sa. The last be upon you this pick. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm kind of excited.
Look, you get 10 seconds. Go.
Now this could either be a jungler, a top, a mid, or even a support. You can bring him anywhere as long as you bring the PTA, please. So if you go for the kill,
And you get.
I'm okay with this. Oh boy, I got both of them.
Oh my god!
Come on, ladies!
Oh, this is
It's
now
over,
a
we've
hostless
lost him,
segment. We've
alright.
lost him. He's gone.
It is over. That's it. It's over. Archerom is yeah, we've lost him. What we now have is solo queue phenom Archer.
Yeah.
Notorious Pantheon and Udyr 2-trick. Very excited by what he's seen. You get another 10 seconds. Go on.
Man, if you go for the Pantheon, whatever you bring him up, bring in the Udyr, but I don't want to see that taga 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 taga. I want to see bring in the Phoenix, make those sounds, and bring in the sustain build, the sustain. That's what you want. You want to be annoying. You want to be on their faces. You want to be and then just be a menace inside of the rift.
This is the face of pure unhinged joy.
Hang on,
You can
whoa.
bring the blades. I don't care about that.
You've lost your count.
You like that. I will never stop.
Okay, I want to point out we've
There's
actually got a potential Gwen jungle
there's a
here as well
jungle
because the
Gwen.
Nautilus is locked in. So that could well be the Gwungle. And Gwen jungle has kind of been buffed over a few patches ago. If you're looking for some AP there, you tend to run Ghosts. You will do Nashes into Malignance, something like that, and the jungle tends to be the way it is. And you can become really, really obnoxious, especially when you can put up your W and just run at people with Ghosts. Quite scary. You scale incredibly well. You farm very fast. Once you get your eye, your setup in a gank isn't awful with Ghosts. You can run people down. You've got Camille and Nautilus to lock people down. You need the AP somewhere. Okay. Go on, Bloxer, before we start again.
I'm just trying to think what you now do right here as Lingard, because you've had most of the long-range APCs taken away. There's now the Kai'Sa. If this was the Kai'Sa without the potential of a Pantheon support, I'd say you slam the Syndra right here. The Syndra is the best pick easily, because the Kai'Sa can't deal with it, and from the remaining engaged supports, even if it was the Rel pickup, oh well, you're probably still going to be absolutely fine as the Syndra, but with the potential of a Pantheon support, that makes the Syndra a lot less of an exciting pickup, because you can just say no to getting pushed back from the stun. That makes it so much scarier to play such an immobile and killable carry, and I think that leaves Lingard with a lot less potential great options right here. And also with a Gwen, with a Camille, you're gonna need something that can do, you know, the more tanky bruisering sort of role. You've got the Nautilus, it's a good start, but this comp is just weird. This is an odd set
Okay,
of picks.
so I feel like RGM's comp is pretty obvious that you've got incredible pick. But Braum was not picked in the original games because, of course, they went with the Leona, not Braum with the Ashe. So they can lock that in. And that can be a way to potentially punish some of these dives coming out. Nautilus hates Braum. It's an awful matchup. Nautilus goes in, gets hit with the passive, can't run away fast enough, and cries internally and externally. It's just a lot of pain for the man in the diving suit. And now the thing is, what RGM got is very, very good pick, very, very good dive. The Nautilus and the Gwen and the Camille hop on someone, lock them down. Gwen runs at them with Ghost, they die a horrible death. Swain is a Lingard special. That could be your bruisery front line, and actually is quite good to a lot of those HP stackers. You just struggle to execute them. That
Who
might not
cares?
be a
There's a
bad
Gwen.
option.
There's a
And
Gwen.
it's another melee option, though, into a Braum, which can get a bit squarey. Scary.
Squarey works.
It is.
fun.
Oh, we've seen this yesterday. It didn't quite pop off, but it has been some time since it has been meta. But yeah, Lingard with the Swain. So we have the
Okay.
double bird. Getting the Silas. We still don't know where Pantheon and Udyr are going, but regardless, both these champions have a really wonderful time versus the Camille. Because Camille deals a tons of damage with the Q. How can you block that Q? You press E with Pantheon. It's ignored. Like, you have a really wonderful time as both of them. So I don't know where they're going, each of them.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Might well be. It's Highbridge on the Udyr jungle. I mean, Malice is playing in this tournament. It was going to happen at some point. We got Udyr jungles, but you've now got Silas locked into the Corki, which is okay. Rockets or whatever. But Depth Charge, Demonic Ascension, Needlework, Hextech Ultimatum are all great ults for
Great.
Silas. Particularly the Demonic Ascension is foul because you're going to get a lot of AP, so you've already got that scaling there. Any way to keep Silas alive for longer, get through more rotations is nuts. Go check out Knight's game on Silas at Worlds where he got 9 rotations off in a single fight. If you want to see what that kind of thing looks like, don't let it happen. And you've got those tools. When you've got the Pantheon and the Udyr as well, both of these teams are going to be obligated into brawling. Look how short range these teams are.
I love it.
These team fights are going to get messy.
Love it.
This is peak run at each other. This is what peak NLC League of Legends is. We're gonna run straight at each other and hope our champions are stronger. And honestly, if any situation is gonna allow the Swain ADC to pop off, it's this one. It's been a great series so far for him already, and now everybody on the other team's gonna run straight in and just sit inside your Demonic Ascension. This could be the Lingard pop-off game.
No matter what happens, it's going to be a bloodshed. And that's exactly what we're here for. This could be the 3-0 saving initializes viewers, or this could be Bloxer just saving all of us, by the way. Just letting you know. Pantheon and Udyr on the same team. You block my webcam, but you can't block the microphone. I'm going to do it like this. I can take the cable. It's still working. I'm not shutting off. So toss it to the castle, jump into the rest. Let's get this party started. Come on. Come on.
Did he forget that there was a microphone in front of him the whole time? Like,
I think it did.
I know he's not the brightest individual, but damn, like,
Even
that
among
light bulb
us.
needs changing, man. Like, poor guy. I like, at the same time, if you had like a LeBlanc and Gangplank game and like the GP's going mid for some reason, I probably would get on that level of excitement. He's gonna sleep well tonight, though, isn't he, Archeron? He's all tuckered out, using all his energy up. He better hope this is the 3-0. He's gonna be a sleepy boy. You good? You look shocked. Yeah, so talking about the game, not Archeron being an energetic little puppy man. This
They have Swain!
What?
They have freaking Swain here, Frank.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
I know you got very
don't care
excited about the
about
Swain.
Pantheon. I couldn't care more. No, I couldn't care. You know what? I couldn't care at all about whatever he speak there apart from Swain, because I love Swain. And it's so unfair that we never see him. And if my calculations are correct, and they usually are not, but I think this time they are, this is still the old Swain. Not the old with the bad tree to the bird and everything, but like the pre-recent adjustment.
Yeah.
Which means it's gonna be hella fun.
It's like they were saying, very short range teams. So, going to be scrappy. Swain is going to benefit massively off that.
Yes!
I was worried a bit about the damage profile because, yes, Camille and Gwen do have a lot of damage, but like
Yes.
realistically, I didn't think they were lacking like, you know, that true like ADC damage, that like that mage damage. But they take the Corki. He's kind of like the mage ADC, even though they did kind of move him away from the mage side of things. So now you've got this this Corki, and I think that was the hole in the group. I'm gonna be interested by Lingard's build as well, because that will probably tell us a lot. But Lingard and Simpy are the front line for every fight. That is what you need to know. I am curious whether it's going to be the Crystal Scepter rush or Leandri's rush. Both of those items are going to come up at some point. I just wonder which one comes up first. If it's a Crystal Scepter rush, to me, that screams that they're going to be looking to team fight as much as possible, because that is huge. Simpy is going to eat a heap of damage. There's not really too much you can do about that. They do answer out with an E and a couple of birds to Lingard. Start stacking that passive.
Yes, that's good, that's good. We get so much health from this passive when we're stacking it up, and there are so many opportunities to stack them onto the enemy, especially onto Braum, because Braum is a big champion, Braum is not very mobile champion, so just do all you want, Lingard. I'm gonna be watching you.
Diverse just getting shoved in. You see Fierce actually not doing a particularly great job of crashing the wave, so he's not in the greatest spot. That finally will crash, but it's a really awkward position for his wave to be in. He is able to get a whole heap of perks out onto Diverse. But there will be another wave crashing in off the back of that. And these early levels for Diverse are going to be a little bit poo on the Silas.
Yeah.
It is harder to be playing him. Once you get that Kingslayer and you have that all in, you get a massive heal, and it does get a little bit more bearable, but early going to be a bit rough. And speaking of early roughs, Raider, this is going to be an incredibly early rough. There are very few champions who match Pantheons like early levels in just raw power. So
And
Raider
Camilla's
just
not
have
one
to
of
play
them.
this one a bit further back.
Yeah, he just needs to wait. He needs to wait a little bit. First level 6 comes in and it's a little bit easier. Then the Shin comes in and it's even easier than before. And overall, with time, the game is going to be getting better and better for Raider. But for now, yes, he's going to have to suffer it.
Fierce doesn't have the flash. He's
Ooh.
dead. He's got the W, but I don't know why he doesn't use it. That was
Doesn't use what?
his W. Did he use it? All right, crazy. I swear he didn't use his W. Oh, he
Didn't
did.
use it in the
Okay.
very beginning.
I think he just got face planted and brain
Oh,
melted.
maybe.
I don't know. I'll have to see a replay at some point. Maybe I'm wrong. That was a bit of a misplay there by Fierce. So we do see
I
high
don't
pressure.
like
Now
how this
Leo
is
coming
looking.
around onto Lingard and Simpy. They're going to be relatively tanky. Good little hook comes out. Can they land a good E under the tower? Yes, they can. Not going to get the tower shots off. And ultimately, RGM's bot lane walk away with more health than
Yeah.
Native's bot lane do. That was really nice. To get another little grab, another passive stack, and some hands of Palpatine off.
It's more health than Native's bot lane and jungle combined, and they even re-engage back into them.
Yeah, they're looking for it. There's going to be the pullback. In comes the haircut for Braum. Down he goes. Schofield pops the W to make sure that he's going to be A-OK. Lovely play by this bot lane. Lingard and Simpy have been super impressive today.
Yes, I like the Simpy's little plays on the bot lane, especially right now during the attempt of a gank from NTZ. A great hook just to make sure that at least Lingard is getting out of this life, but in fact they both get, and they even get a kill out of that. Even though it's a kill on support, it's still a kill on the bot lane. They get out of this whole exchange with more health and more money than NTZ did. And overall, it's such a nice duo on the bot lane that is gonna pop off massively later in the team fights, because both of them can gap close with the enemy, or rather make the enemy gap close into themselves, which is gonna be perfect into Lingard's ultimate, which is gonna be really good setup for the Camille and for the Gwen. And overall, the team fighting from RGM, I feel like, is going to be really hard for NTZ to operate around.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing Raider had to teleport back away, but there is a significant farm gap between the top side right now. It's pretty scary. Archfiend, obviously, on that Pantheon, very, very scary for Raider to be fighting a versus early. So right now, Raider just kind of wants to hit that first item before I think he feels comfortable full-on scrapping with Archfiend. Natives, though, even though they got a lot of power top, and a play went bad bot, they're still going to be able to answer up with this first dragon for themselves. Not really going to be any opportunity to do anything about that from the side of RGM. They may look
Not
towards
really.
the grubs, but I think the power top lane is just too scary.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I don't like for GM right now. Ideally, with their bot lane situation, they should have been the ones securing the Drake. But
Yeah.
in the end, we had Gwen at the top part of the map. She just recalled, going towards the Nasha tooth rather quickly, but not just done yet. And then the problem with going to the top lane is that Archfiend is going to be extremely quick to react on the grabs, and you don't want to be fighting level 6 Pantheon with Udyr on the grabbies in the pit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very, very rough. They have got pressure in the mid lane. They're bringing Simpy over as well. And Leo actually a little bit late to the play. Natives going to pop a... Schofield starts it up. It's just going to back off. Archfiend's half HP, so there is a world where they can look to turn this. Now, Leo has moved into the area. They're going to pop the honey fruit. Schofield's going to do his best to just zone off and deny those heals to them. As in comes the lockdown from Raider. Archfiend pops himself the W to keep himself going. They are going to be able to find a kill onto the Udyr, but Archfiend, he goes down. Blinking health bar for Highbrash as Diverse may look for Schofield here. Gets the W charged up and boom! Goes the Gwen. Simpy now gets caught out by the passive, but Fierce is going to put some damage down. Diverse, very low HP. Fierce can look for this. Puts down some serious damage in response. Mana's low onto Diverse. Can they find the damage? The haircut is absolutely huge as now they are looking for Fierce. Fierce goes down. Natives take the fight. Schofield, just a little bit too squishy. Flanking at a weird angle without the vision, and he went down for it.
That was a little bit too ambitious from LGM. The idea was interesting, trying to lock NTZ after they managed to shoot them away from the pit, but afterwards everything goes wrong, and NTZ are rather quick to rotate their mid lane and their support to the grabby spot as well. And overall, at this point in the game, in fights and skirmishes like that, they are stronger than RGM. RGM gotta wait out. RGM are really dependent on their items and on their levels. The scaling on Gwen, the scaling on Camille, the scaling on Corki, they gotta wait out for it. Right now, it's hard to fight with NTZ. However, as I'm saying that, it's really important to know that they still get the grubbies out of it.
That's going to be big because there is a point where the Camille will just take over the top side.
Oh, yes.
Will become a complete problem up there. And if you can get 6 grubs onto your Camille, I mean, you're at the 3 now, but if you can get to 6, there's not really much Archfiend's going to be able to do about the split push pressure from that Camille. Although I will say, these teams haven't really been playing a split push focused game. That is a very lucky MKR, by the way. They haven't really played a split push focused game. They've been very brawly, very scrappy.
They can do. That's the thing. We've seen actually we've seen quite a lot of adaptability from RGM between game number 1 and game number 2 in terms of how they were dealing with issues in the game, with how they were operating around their draft. So I feel like in this game, if they get the grabbies, they have 2 really strong side lane champions. So why not use it?
Well, Archfiend is not going to be able to live this one. Uses that W very nicely, and that's Raider securing the kill onto him. That was honestly the longest hook shot I've seen a Camille throw out.
It's not that long.
They went a long way, man. There was a lot of movage happening on that.
I mean, you get the longer second jump if you can actually lock onto a target. So
yes, yeah,
makes sense.
Simpy, you are contesting a red side. You have no backup or no business contesting.
He has belief in himself and a lot of audacity. You know what? Sometimes that's enough.
Yep, he also has no flash now off the back of that. It looks like natives are going to look for Lingard. Lingard, ultimate up and available, is going to pop the wave a little bit here. There's no teleports apart from Fierce coming up in 2 seconds. So maybe, but they're going to turn for Simpy instead. That is probably the play, to be honest. In they jump with the Kaiser ultimate. They do look for the lockdown. Lingard has the ultimate popped, and yeah, there's nothing they can do. Simpy being a little bit of a weak link right now.
A little bit. Man only died twice. You gotta have a little bit of... You know what? No.
So I'll round up my point for why I think that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have contested red, blew his flash.
Yeah.
He knew they were in the red side jungle and walked very close to that bush without a flash. That's why I think Simpy was a bit of a menace for his own team off the back of that one. We're now at the point here where Raider actually is stronger than Archfiend. Yep. And I think you kind of weren't able to really accrue a massive lead. You got a farm lead, but the kill equalized it out for the side of Raider. So, yeah, get a bit rough up there on top side.
I feel like the Raider is going to rotate from the top lane soon. Right now he's going to stay there, but right now it's going to be a fight though in the jungle.
They're looking for Simpy. Simpy eats the Winter's Bite, is able to walk away safely. Archfiend reset, buys himself his Eclipse, and then was kind of moving in an angle where he could jump in with the Grand Starfall, but wasn't able to find the lineup. And Natives going to be able to get their second Dragon of this game. There's not really any way to contest for the side of RGM. I want to see them answer out with these 6 grubs. That would be very, very big for this team.
They absolutely should. There is the Nashor's Tooth available for Gwen. There is Camila, who is feeling really good on the top lane, who's going to have her flash available very soon, by the way. We can rotate the mid lane. There is a TP available to Fierce. We should be fighting for those grabbies or just getting them.
Well, MKR loses a massive chunk of HP to Lingard. Malignant's now finished up onto him, so actually not going for either of the kind of HP brawler AP items, going more for the kind of the effect of that ultimate. To me, I mean, it'll still definitely be a Crystal Scepter and Leandries.
Yes.
I feel like the
Realize-
Crystal Scepter's higher value right now as your next
I
item.
want to see realize there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of control on the other hand on the LGM side. They can help Swain keep the enemies in the range of his ultimate. But on the other hand, Relay is just such an easy item on Swain. Oh, Raider.
Yep, gets caught out by the ultimate. Does have one to answer back with. Hook shots away. Nicely
That was
played by
smooth.
Raider. Played that very patiently. That does come across, though. The grubs do go down now to the side of native. So no 6 grubs going over to the side of RGM. They will answer out some tower plates on the other side of the map. And Schofield setting up a invade. You see how they respect the fact that Schofield was probably in that bush, so MKR doesn't walk near it.
Yes.
Definitely the play.
Don't want to be facing with Gwen up close right now, but he most likely will still have to, especially if they
Oh,
overcommit.
Archfiend comes in on the flank. The Malignant's burn, no, onto Lakago is huge.
Oof.
RGM, they get the pullback. He's low HP. No more needles to be used. Double kill for the Pantheon. Archfiend, huge.
Massive. He had to use absolutely everything in this fight except for the ultimate. But hey, he gets the double kill. He saves the situation on the bot lane for the time being, though, because Gwen is still there. Gwen is still going to get the turret plate and the turret? Question mark? No, she's not actually. She's not gonna stay there. But okay, that means that actually NTZ have found a really nice victory on the bot lane. They keep the turret standing, and as long as their bot lane is more or less stabilized, they can continue pressing towards the upcoming Drakes, and they already have 2 of those in their pockets.
I did think, though, these plays are coming at a cost. I mean, they went for that play top side. They lost a load of plate spot side. This time around, the Grand Starfall gets used by Archfiend, but it's still 3 plates down top side as well over to Raider. So even with these plays being made, I mean, you look at the gold leads across the board, and they are minute. There is no significant player who's ahead right now. And honestly, I think IGM are okay with that. They know that this Pantheon's going to fall off. I mean, Hybros will actually continue to scale. So will MKR. But you've got, the Corki. You've got the Swain. You've got a lot of tools, a lot of champs who want items to really get into the game. Because eventually, Swain is going to be unkillable.
Yeah, he is. The moment he drops the ultimate, he's unkillable. Is Simpe unkillable? Or is he not? Oh, he's fine.
Able to get away. That was a nice little escape there from Fierce. Because there's immediate steal on the Nautilus ultimate to punish onto Fierce, and Fierce just got on the tower ASAP.
We got a TP. We got to contest the Herald, I think.
Yeah, they're looking to go for it. Diverse has ultimate. Lingard's got his. They're going to go for the pullback. Over the wall, Raider goes. Leo, low HP, finds the knock-ups to multiple people, but he's able to just about make his way out. Raider finds the kill. Can they find an answer back? They do get the lockdown in place. There's going to be Lingard's ultimate. They are melting to the Swain. Absolutely disgusting amount of damage coming out. Grouped up, Malignant's burn. Brutal from RGM, and they're going to take Herald.
Swain! Man, I love Swain. That is literally my favorite champion in League of Legends. So fun to watch in the team fights like that. And with Malignants, that is such a great item for him. He goes into the team fight, he props in insane amount of damage. And problem for NTZ is nobody's really able to kill him because they're most of the time busy fighting Raider, who's on their faces fighting them non-stop.
Looks like Schofield going to be able to take it, but he doesn't pick it up. He needs to get that eye. Someone needs to move over. Leo also coming in for the block. Raider jumps forward. Hook lands on. Leo is not long left. And that is going to be Schofield grabbing the Herald off the back of that one. And suddenly, a slingshot in gold in favor of RGM. This game's looking hella spicy.
Yes, you were just talking about how there is no particular gold lead for anybody on RGM side, and the gold between teams was dead even. Suddenly, we have a great gold lead on both the mid lane and the bot lane, the 2 champions who are the main damage output of RGM, and they are being ahead. They're having items completed. Realize, by the way, second item on Swain. I love this so much.
Yeah, this is the one. They're looking for Diverse. Diverse able to get away. He's able to evade out of that one. Herald spawned up. They're going to put some pressure onto this tower. Oh, they're just going straight for the drive onto the Lockpart Tower. I don't really think Lukaku can hold this. Diverse steals the ultimate away, but down goes the tower. He's going to pop the ultimate, but a response comes out. The Crystal Scepter slow is making their lives so hard. The Grand Starfall Archfiend joins in. MKR follows up, but everyone's getting cut down slowly. RGM getting kills left, right, and center. MKR cannot survive any longer as the Vision of Empire slays him. RGM take the fight.
They take almost everybody, and it's only Archfiend left to watch over the corpses of his
wasn't even
friends.
there. Oh god, this game's doomed.
Yes, it is. I'm so sorry, Archerum. I know you're watching this right now and you're hurt, but well, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just sorry. I'm happy for RGM though, because they are getting so much out of this fight right now. Finally, we're gonna see the first Drake for RGM. They're getting the top lane right now. They're pretty much opening all 3 lanes at the same time. And when they get the Baron, because I assume it's going to be an early Baron for RGM, they are gonna go for a very quick game end.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Soul's going to be a option here for RGM, just because I don't think the game's going to go long enough for Soul. Yeah. But if that team gets Soul, Cloud Soul on Swain is nasty. You can't get away. With a Crystal Scepter slow and the amount of move speed he'd get, it would be impossible to get away. As MKR going to get locked down, I don't think. This Kai'Sa's is long for the world.
Nope.
As the Vision of Empire watches him fade.
It's not the Vision... Wait.
Vision of Empire is his W.
Oh, right. The E's never move, right. I was mixing the two up. But you know what?
Genuinely didn't know the name of it, of the E.
I thought for a year ongoing, I thought it was called Nevermore. Like, you know, the Edgar Allan Poe thing.
Oh,
called
yeah.
The Raven Nevermore. And it made so much sense in my head. And then someone told me it's actually not called that. It's called Never Move. And I was like, it also makes sense, but I hate it.
I think Demonic Ascension's the ultimate, Vision of Empire's the W, and then I call his Q-Hand a Palpatine because, you know, makes thematic sense.
Yes.
And then I just call it the Claw. It's the claw that comes out. Yep. That's all I call it for the E.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm letting it. I'm leaking. I'm exposing myself here. Should know these ability names. There'll be play-by-play casters like, yeah, I know every name. I'm like, well, I just give them nicknames.
Which is more fun this way, no?
Hell yeah. Raider gets caught out by the chains. Hook shots away. Archfiend's got the lockdown onto him. Can Raider survive? He doesn't have his own ultimate. Schofield slides in. The Vision of Empire goes wide, but the needlework is absolutely putting holes in them. MKR joins in. Schofield is still alive. The Gwen doesn't go down. Lingard is just holding everybody in place. Is that a quadra? It's a double. Schofield, what a beast.
It's a double and a double, baby. We got 2 champions who love fighting in the melee range with the enemies, and we got NTZ who are pretty much all melee range. And what do? They come into close range and fight, and what do they do after that? They die. And after that, they're giving away the Baron to RGM because we have half a minute before it's going to spawn. And look at RGM already clearing out the Vision in the top part of the jungle, already prepping for the Baron. They take it, they end the game. It's a 3-0.
I know that RGM have a few names that we'll know from Div 1, like Lingard and Fierce and Simpy and stuff like that. But honestly, this team and their ability to draft bizarre team comps that counter what the enemy team are looking to do and actually execute on it very, very smoothly is really impressive. I am very excited because I'll be real, this is likely a 3-0. I'm very excited to see them play versus some of the better teams, and how they'll actually pair up versus them with, you know, potentially these kind of interesting and spicy drafts. Because right now, I'm very, very impressed with RGM and what they've been able to achieve.
I'm gonna tell you, I went into this series absolutely unbiased. But right now, I'm fully sold on RGM. I want to see more from them. I love the adaptability from the team. I love their possibility to go completely off-meta champions, and I love their ability to read the draft and the map after that, because they've been finding great answers to NTZ. It's a question, are RGM that great?
Leo, he's gone, he's cooked, Diverse. He steals the Swain ult, but it's not going to do anything. This Swain just makes Pantheon and Udyr unable to play. Lockdown onto MKR, triple kill. Whoa. Going over to the Gwen. Diverse with a Swain ultimate and a dream. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. looking for potentially Simpy. He just hooks away. Diverse comes in with the chains, gets caught, gets pinned, gets locked down. There's the ace, and that should just be the game.
A boy can steal the ultimate and Dream, but a man is going to take the Baron and take the 3-0, apparently. You can steal all the ultimates you want, and frankly, they're great ultimates for the Silas to steal and to use in the fight against RGM. But it's not just the separate ultimates in RGM that work. It's the whole composition, everybody combined, that works so well together for them. It's a really well-rounded team that takes NTZ over and over and over, both in skirmishes and in the bigger team fights. And by now, the split between the teams is so big that there is no way NTZ can have any angle onto RGM in a fight.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Like, even their ADC basically jumps in melee, and as soon as you are in range of that big old Swain ultimate with the Crystal Scepter, it is unplayable. Like, he's not even gone Leandries. He's now just gotten more tanky, the ability to stay alive. They're going to look to lock him down, but he immediately pops that Demonic Ascension, and they cannot kill Lingard. Two members of Natives fall. Fierce jumps over the wall. Schofield comes in with the tidy up, and it's just a clean ace, a triple kill going over the Raider. These fights are just so one-sided. It just feels like Natives don't have an opportunity in this game.
Unfortunately, they don't. That's sheer numbers by now. That's not about the player's ability or anything. That's sheer numbers. NTZ, everybody is so behind RGM. There is no way they're dealing any damage to them, or at least surviving the fight with them. And now with 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, and everybody on NTZ, they're gonna resurrect, but most likely just to see their game going down.
It would have had to be a miracle from them to pull this one around, as RGM absolutely demolish Natives. And the crazy thing about this game is, I remember we were talking about the Gold League not being that close, and then one fight and it ballooned, and then it just exploded from there. Like, it just felt like that one fight for Natives completely lost them the game, and I am flabbergasted at the performance there from the side of RGM. I mean, looking at the roster, I had a very good feeling about this team, but like, especially in this series, but I didn't expect it to be this one-sided like that.
Yeah.
I felt like Natives didn't even have a chance beyond like game one. Like game one, there was like a moment where they actually played all right with that LeBlanc getting quite fed. But as soon as we kind of got beyond that point of their game where they didn't one-shot the way, I think that was the last chance like Natives had in this entire series. Like, it was a very one-sided affair from RGM.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately for us, and unfortunately for all the NTZ fans, because we definitely wanted to see more from that team. But RGM were just looking way too good in this series, honestly. They were always ahead, starting from the draft itself. I really love the way this team drafts, because they read the enemy draft, and they slam their own draft on top of it, making sure that they can shut down the enemy and not let them do what they want. Even in this game, they were absolutely fine not having any gold lead and going toe-to-toe with the enemy, because they were like, it's chill, we scale. We're gonna be better regardless later in the game.
Well, it was a tremendous performance there from RGS, and commiserations to Natives, but a 3-0 victory. Huge numbers coming in. We're going to throw it to a break, and when we're back with that, we'll be back with the desk, who can break the day down. See you in a moment.
Break it down, break it down. Step on the gas, let's get out of town. We gonna break out and have some fun. We gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah. Come on, take your body with you. It's a money weekend. Everything we wanna, we go do. We go do. It's leisure, we go do.
all due respect, Bloxer, you gotta do something.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm gonna have to find a fake beard somewhere and yeah. I didn't have faith. I'm sorry. I didn't have faith.
That's a 3-0 coming in from RGM. And the interesting thing for this team, I don't know if you guys agree with me, is the idea that this team scaled as the series went on. They grew as the series went on, and dominance was growing step by step. They adapt and they can even be more dangerous. That is scary for RGM.
Yeah, and again, it's Fearless. You're doing it with very different champions as well every time. They didn't draft a standard AD carry the entire series. Yeah, you got a Corki mid lane. Congratulations. That's as close as it got.
Yeah.
It's not even in the bot lane. You're seeing Raider get to play his style of champions. That Camille now moves to over an 80% rate. That is 17-4 all time on that champion. This guy should never be allowed that champion in a decent matchup. And you can go down the line, you go, these guys are drafting champions that they are both good at and practiced at, but two, they know how to build into a composition that makes sense, and they as a team know how to play and execute. This composition was foul into the enemy team. You've got so many melee champions with a Gwen, Camille, Nautilus, Swain going, thank you very much. And if you weren't able to take out the Swain, spoilers, they didn't, or the Gwen, who was able to throw needlework after needlework through those team fights and bring them down in short order, you just ran out of damage on the other side. The Kai'Sa was flying into a maelstrom, quite literally, full of crows and dying a lot. And this native squad didn't have what it took today against RGM, who have come in, yes, with a core of players who have been NLC Div 1 and doing very well there, but with a team that is playing with such a unique style that I think they will be very excited to follow through into the semi-finals and potentially further.
At this point, I would like to introduce the interviews. So let's start with Highbridge, if possible. I know he's ready for the interview as we speak. So if possible, that would be a good start. That would be a good start. Hello, welcome back. We need to talk.
Yep.
Rough Cities, it's a 3-0. I don't think the result actually reflects the entire series.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to make any excuses, but the game was completely unplayable for me. My computer froze every team fight. When I was clearing camps, it was freezing. Like, if you go back and watch the team fights, you'll see I'm standing still at every team fight. My team was playing 4v5. It's completely unplayable, to be honest. We tried restarting my PC 4 times in the series. I tried unplugging monitors. I tried Task Manager, everything. Nothing worked. I don't know. I'm just very upset, to be honest, because we put in a lot of work as a team, and I feel like we didn't really get to show it. I feel like we showed it in the Swiss stage, and I think my teammates all put in a lot of work, and it just kind of sucks because I feel like I kind of let them down, right? But I know it's not really in my control. Like, sometimes when the computer just goes up, it happens, but it just still feels bad because I don't know. It just sucks because there's so many days it could have happened.
You can't do anything though. You can't do anything.
But there's so many days it could happen. Just happened today, so I feel bad for my team. Like, I think every single one of my teammates, I mean, it was like fun to play with, right? I feel like, I really appreciate them. They're trying to stay positive. They're like, in game 3, we just talked to Rek and I just told him just put me on Udyr. So I just try to take objectives early because I know I won't be able to click buttons in team fights. So it's like, at least I could be there just to soak damage or something was what I was hoping, right? But even though I feel like my team played very, very well. Like, I think this is one of the best series they played. It's just when you're a team that plays through jungle and I'm standing still in every single team fight, it's just very depressing to play, honestly. When I got to the end, I just wanted this to be, it sucks. Not much we can do about it.
At this point, it's done, and we have to look forward to 2025. What can we expect from you to 2025? Let's talk about that. Let's clear our mind and look into the next year. What is your main goal?
I think I've definitely improved a lot in the offseason. I know I couldn't show it today, but I think in the Swiss stage, I think it was quite obvious that I never lost jungle. I was always very ahead in farm, ahead in ganks, in team fights, which is what I really wanted to focus on coming to this split. I think it's the place where I've improved the most, which was my late game. So I'm very happy about my progress there. And next split, I don't know if I'm going to be in NLC or if I'm going to be in another league, but I'm just going to look to show my improvements a bit better. And yeah, I mean, this sucks, right? But it's still like, it's just gonna feel me, you know. Like losing last split was terrible. Like getting knocked out, like one of the second team to get knocked out, sucked, right? But here, when you get a taste of the playoffs, like I really thought we could make a run, but then whatever happened today. So, I mean, it's just gonna feel me, you know. I think it's just gonna make me a much better player. But right now, it's like hard to digest everything. Just
It's hard to
when stuff like
digest,
that
but
happens.
it's just a pebble. Think about that. Just a pebble on your shoe, man. You just gotta take it off and move on. 2025, do it. 2025 average, do it.
Yeah.
I'll
Sorry
see you
for
soon,
like,
man.
the worst series ever. It's just nothing.
Nope. Don't even think about it. It's beyond your
No.
control. So breathe in and say, hey, I've done my work. I've done my job. I know how much I improved. 2025 is my year. Think about that. Don't
Yeah.
stop.
I think Venom Crest will
Don't
win
stop
this. Venom Crest will win this tournament, by the way.
Ah, I see.
think so. But,
Average, thank you so much. I'll see you soon, I hope.
yeah, hopefully.
See you
See you, mate.
That stinks. That stings. That's I mean, imagine if I'm playing with Initialize, I know like it's by default he's terrible. But if you know like he's good and he's not performing and it's because of the computer, that's horrible. Like if it was Initialize computer, I would be like, yeah, his computer is not helping, but the fingers is also reflecting, like the computer is reflecting.
I
the
don't
fingers.
have hands. This is non-existent. This is not real.
It's like the beard that doesn't exist. That's green screen.
Rip it off.
It's green screen. I'm sorry, production. I had to reveal the secret. This is green screen. This is CGI. This is AI. This is not even initialized, by the way.
I'm actually hip brain. You just don't know it. Yeah.
I knew it. No, but then, it's horrible. Like
So
obviously-
GP mid, by the way.
Well, you gotta live with those. You gotta live with those. And Block said, obviously, like when you hear this, your heart sinks.
It feels bad because there's so much that you can say about a team, but when they're playing 4v5, when they can't fully show off what is great about them, it feels terrible. What I don't want is for that to take away from how well it was that we got to see, you know, the other team in this equation play, because sure, natives, they weren't able to play up to their full potential, and that sucks, it really does. But Regem, they didn't either they didn't know that, or they were still playing up to an incredible standard, and I don't want that to take away from how well Regem played. Perhaps in another series, this one would have been closer, would have gone to more games, but Regem, they still looked like a truly incredible team. Just overall, every single part of that composition, every single part of the team worked so well. Gotta give some love to Lingard, though. The whole series was excellent. It wasn't as many kills on that Swain game, but it still felt like the Swain was an insurmountable goal. There was nothing you could do. There was actually nothing you could do about the Swain once you had that Rylai's completed. You couldn't move around in team fights. You couldn't kill the Swain, and it just did so much damage overall. We got to see the damage graph, and it did the same amount as the Pantheon did. It was the tied most damage in the game with the Pantheon, but it felt so useful. It was doing so much in these team fights, and Lingard just looked amazing overall. Popping off on a Lux, I mean, damn.
So you're saying Pantheon is not useful?
I'm saying Swain might be a little bit more useful. I wouldn't,
Yeah, they're saying
go that
Pantheon
far.
is useless.
I wouldn't
what were
go
you saying in
that
the
far.
green room again about Pantheon? When we
Oh,
were
that
off air? Just anything you want to say?
He sucks,
for
we
the
should get
folks
rid
at
of
home,
him
yeah?
and
Yeah.
delete that champion. Yumi's way better.
Yeah,
all of
I
those
hate
things,
this
all of
champion.
those
I can't
things, yeah.
believe I'm forced into playing it all the time. Why have I tied my identity to this champion?
I just need to find one IP. I know the other one. Talking to Simpy right now. I was waiting for us on the interview, by the way.
Did he just threaten to dox us? He did.
Bye-bye! Welcome back. We get to talk about this. What happened? This was an interesting series. This was a fast one as well. Are you in a rush, like dinner appointment or something?
I mean, I
What
have,
is happening?
at least for me, I have university works a lot of them to do, so it's good that we finish fast.
But my question is, what's happening with Rakan? Is that like relationship over? What do you mean?
No, I mean, I think like in the buy game, I could have played it, but with Leona it's easier to engage on Ziggs
Yeah.
with my ult. Also, I can follow up buy as well with Leona, so. And then we have Cosmo and Lux to just press one button and they die. So
That was nasty, by the way. That was nasty. I went on in-game history and I reported you and your entire team. That's hateful behavior. Now, tell me something. This composition, RGM, I walk into Aurora Cup and I look into this. I'm like, what is this composition? What is this roster? How this come to be? Like, how this disappear?
I mean, at least for me, after we finished EMEA, I wasn't really like gonna play winter, and since I cannot play next split because of my studies, like I finished, so I was like, okay, I have really long break to just chill from LOL, and after some months, I mean, I was talking with Anno Psycho, I mean the coach we have, and in the end, he's told me, yeah, we play, let's arrange team, blah, blah, blah. And then we talked to Lingard, yes. And then we have Raiden because we know him. And then we missed mid and jungle. And we did Resident. So I was like, okay, I will talk to Fierce. So we didn't give
You're
it.
telling me that this composition was only made for Aurora Cup?
Yeah. I mean, we just grouped we grouped randomly to Aurora. We also cannot scream much because everyone is doing a lot of things. I think like for this match we screamed once only, if I recall. So yeah, we do.
You just told me you're not playing on 2025.
I mean, till June, but maybe if there's something good, I can rethink like my time. But I think I probably don't play. So
how old
I mean,
are
I
you,
have to see
Seppi?
it.
No, how old are you?
A lot. Revealed.
A lot? You're too
I mean,
young to retire, dude!
No, I think after I finish my career in June, so I will look for team after, probably.
Okay. I'll
I mean,
make sure that happens, but
sorry.
I'll be chasing you, man. I have a lot of people to chase, apparently. So tell me something. Yesterday with FGG interview, he was saying the only team that he fears is Ready. He only wants to fight versus Ready on the finals. If you could reply to that, imagine FGG is listening right now. It's obviously like, it's just between you and me. We're not going to clip it and send it, obviously. I swear. Pinky promise. But what would you say to FGG right now? Look me in the eyes, look into the camera, and talk to FGG.
I mean, I don't even know who plays in Ruddy, so good for him. I just want to face Venom Crest, so this the team we face in 2 weeks or something, they are just a stepping stone to face my old team and win against the manager Uko. I am watching you. That's my goal. I don't care about Verdant. Like I hope we face them, and that's it.
That's a good reply. I don't even care about you. I have another team to face in the finals. Okay.
True.
So my final question. It's a really serious one, by the way, Simpy. I hope you can talk to me a little bit about this. What anime are you watching right now?
Okay, I'm watching with Oscar, with Fanatic Top. We are watching Shangri-La Frontier, both. So.
And you didn't invite me.
Maybe next time.
I'm watching you. Yeah, I'm watching you. Hey, Sammy, thank you so much for the interview. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And don't retire. You're too young. You're too young. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. Come on, man. If Oda is still writing One Piece with that age, you can't retire, man. You can't retire. Okay. You can't retire when One Piece is over. So until 90, okay? You're Simpy. You're NLC Jesus, buddy. You're NLC Jesus until 90. You're gonna keep working. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Until you're 90.
I'm sorry, Bloxer. Our interviews are. I'm so sorry.
Oh, perfect. Don't apologize. This is perfect.
He gets that a lot. Don't encourage his ego too much. Very smug man.
Come on, man. We just come on, man. Come on. You started.
Wait.
this broadcast had started with you saying you need a hug, and now you're telling this guy is smug.
Yeah, look, yeah, okay, that was at the beginning of the broadcast. At this point, I'm kind of like, my amount of Archeron tolerance has been reached.
It
And
has
now,
been 3 hours. This was a 3-0, by the way. This could have been a 5-game
I mean,
We
series.
could have had
imagine
2
if it
more
got to game
hours of
4.
this.
I mean, phew.
I went to the gym with you.
I know. Why do you think the tolerance is reduced?
We gotta go gym, Bloxer. We gotta go gym. I'm just saying.
No, don't do this to yourself.
No.
And you do. He's great. He's a very good BT. You will hate yourself and him afterwards, but it'll be a great time.
My question is, FGG announces yesterday the team we want to beat is ready. Today we get to hear from RGM we only want to face Venom Crest. We got some different ideas going on.
I mean, let's be real. That's a lot of old Venom Crest players. I think there's some personal. I'd love to take that team down going on. Let's be real. That is pure personal. This is for me and the boys.
I like that. Bloxer, what do you have to say about today? If you had to wrap up production and the entire broadcast today, what would you say?
Damn. I mean,
No pressure,
it was
no pressure.
truly crazy that all of those games were insane. I feel like there wasn't a single one where I went into it going, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen here. And even if I did think I have an idea, it was off the wall completely. I think that people need to be putting a lot of respect right now onto Regim's name. That was incredibly fun to watch, and I think that the breadth of champion pools and playstyles that they have available to them is incredibly big when you're in this sort of fearless drafting. I think also, you know, hearing FGG talking about who he wants to face, all of this, I can't wait for the next round. I think that the next round is going to be some of the most explosive games. Obviously, we've still got 2 more quarterfinals left to play, which is going to be so incredibly exciting too. But I guess if I had to round it up, I'd say that your dynamic is weird. I've enjoyed being here, but the way you're an odd bunch. I like it though.
We are an odd bunch. I think that's
We're
the
not-
nicest way to describe us initialize. This is NLC in a sentence. You're an odd bunch.
I mean, let's be real. I worked on UKL with a lot of the people who were
Okay,
there. They're
look,
not that
okay,
much.
look.
They're not anyone normal. They are just as weird. So you know, something
Oh,
about the
that's true.
kettle calling the pot black.
Yeah.
And kids in
Welcome
glass
home.
houses really
Yeah.
shouldn't throw.
Okay, you
really
make
should throw
you
snowballs.
make an
This ain't A-Rap,
excellent
mate.
point. You make an excellent point. I retract all statements.
Initialize. Give me your parting words.
I think we are going to see some of the teams like RGM who have gotten this breadth to their champion pool, a bit of verve and confidence, and hell, maybe that touch of arrogance even to draft some of these things, really thrive in the fearless draft. It is exciting to see what a best of 5 can look like in this format with these teams. Still 2 more quarters to go. I cannot wait to see what happens. I am expecting some weird and wonderful compositions. My popcorn is ordered in. I'm ready to sit down. I'm ready to watch it all.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And the more I watch, especially with Worlds in question, the more the team is willing to risk it all with weird peaks that they are comfortable with, the more interesting the game gets, and the more questions I have if meta should be applied that often, if we should be slaves or not. I'm just saying, League of Legends has more than 150 champions. Maybe get out of your box. With that in mind, the other thing I have to say is I know where you live, Initialize, and I know there's a gym nearby, so think about that as you're going to sleep today. Until we see each other again, which is next week, by the way. Same time, NLC will be back. And look at this. We're going to be facing Ready, LLS, and then on the next day, Venom Crest versus BFG. This is going to be the next week we have in store. The next game on semis is going to be Verdant versus RGM. That's going to be spicy. That's going to be interesting. But that's a little bit far away from us. And until then, I wish you the best. Keep playing. Keep climbing, and I'll see you soon. You don't run that fast. You don't run that
No,
fast.
I don't want to see him soon. I want.
And I'm bringing
Keep
a
him out of my
shaver as
house.
well. I'm bringing a shaver. I'll see you soon.
Help!
Hey, we wrap it up right now, guys. Production.
I need to go.
I
Bye.
said production.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice, and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.